WCCO.
Mostly cloudy, 59 degrees at 3:03. I'm Laura Oakes. As Catholic congregations across the world mourn the passing of Pope Francis, a mass at the Cathedral of St. Paul today honored his life and accomplishments as well.
Archbishop of St. Paul in Minneapolis, Bernard Hegseth, says Pope Francis paved the way for inclusion in the church, that he hopes to see a new pope with similar values.
He's been a great defender of human life, just the way in which he's been an apostle for peace, always calling for peace, and just the way in which he really has been leading us to treat one another with great love. Knowing God's mercy, we're then called to share that mercy with others.
This Mass is just the first of 9 traditional Masses that will honor the Pope in the coming days. In St. Paul, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830, WCCO.
The Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus is praising a Supreme Court decision today allowing young adults to acquire gun carry permits. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison appealed a lower court decision earlier this year, which struck down a state law limiting those permits to people 21 or over. Rob Dorr is vice president of the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus.
We won at the trial court level. We won at the 8th Circuit 2 times when Keith Ellison appealed there. And then with today's denial, now 18, 19, and 20-year-olds effective today can start applying at their local county sheriffs for their permits to carry, provided they've met all of the requirements to do so.
Ellison cited safety concerns and senseless gun deaths in young people as reasons to keep the age ban in place. Disgraced former state senator Justin Eichhorn back in court today, asking a federal judge to modify his release restrictions in order to see his own children. The 40-year-old Republican legislator was arrested on federal charges last month for attempted coercion or enticement of a minor during a sting operation in Bloomington. He resigned shortly thereafter. As part of his release prior to trial, he was barred from interacting with anyone under 18 except in the presence of an adult. Minnesota Congresswoman Kelly Morrison holding a press conference with a Zumbrota small business owner this afternoon. Morrison is highlighting the challenges they face by what she calls the Trump administration's reckless, unnecessary, and unpredictable trade wars.
This is just not good economic policy. It's very disorienting, and it makes it nearly impossible for businesses to plan and make decisions. Many are in an existential moment where they really think that they're going to have to close their doors.
Morrison is pushing for an exemption from tariffs for U.S. small businesses. Shocking news 9 years ago today that Prince had died. Once again, operators at Prince's Paisley Park home and recording studio are allowing free admission today. The complex-turned-museum opened earlier today, calling today a time to reflect. At 4:21 this afternoon, there will be a special candle lighting in the NPG Music Club inside the building. WCCO News Time is 3:06.
Let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Finding some slowing traveling crosstown westbound Cedar, making your way out toward 169. Update brought to you by Linda's Construction, lindasconstruction.com. West 494 sluggish already as you make way between 12th Avenue and France Avenue. Highway 36 eastbound, some slowing as you move past Selling Avenue. April is a great time to call Linda's Construction. You can get free installation labor on quality Leaf Guard brand gutters and siding. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Those May flowers should be looking really good this year. Scattered showers return overnight, could linger into the morning commute. 45 the overnight low. Then the clouds clear out again tomorrow, much like today. We'll see sunshine later with a high of 65. Mostly cloudy on Wednesday with a high up near 70 before, wait for it, more rain showers return late and last into Thursday.
Mostly cloudy right now, 59 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
The station of record for the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and the Upper Midwest. News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Here's the star of the show and your host, Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio, and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
And welcome to Drive Time. Hour 1 is on the air. We are streaming on YouTube at the WCCO radio channel, on X at DeRusha J, and also on the WCCO radio Facebook page. It's Jason. Dan is here. Laura with you on the news. We begin with the day after Easter, the news this morning that Pope Francis had died. It was almost as if he willed himself to make it one more day. Sometimes we see this with loved ones, right? That last moment, as if they know that their time is up, but they still have a little bit left to do. Man, I wonder what he said to Vice President J.D. Vance. The Pope has been a vocal critic about a U.S. immigration policy, among other things. It got me thinking about going to church. Because yesterday, like so many of you, I went back. I have become what I used to make fun of. I have become the Christmas and Easter Catholic. In my defense, at church yesterday, I did sit in the back row. I felt like I would always be annoyed that the twice-a-year crowd would take the good seats. So I sat in the back row. And I was thinking about this yesterday, even before the news of the Pope dying, and it made me want to ask you a pretty simple question. Do you go to church? 651-461-9226. And has that changed? Either more or less? I am of a certain age where it is somewhat popular for people to say that they are spiritual, not religious. They believe, but not in any organized religion. It goes into a lot of things that are going on in our society right now. The skepticism around anything that's big or organized. We're sort of in this big business skepticism, big pharma, big nonprofit, big church is part of it, I think. Although, interestingly, at the same time, you see the megachurch sort of move, which many of those seem to be very, very large and doing very, very well. I was looking for some data on this today, and Pew Research reaches out and does this religious landscape every year. And America, I think there's a group out there that thinks America is a Christian nation. And I think without question, we were founded on many of the principles in the 1700s that are connected to Christianity, to Christian ethical tenets as to what is good and what is not. The Christian share of the United States has been stabilizing in 2023, 2024. It's about 63%. Now, when you ask people in 2007, it was 78% identifying as Christian. So pretty big difference. When you ask people if they are kind of spiritual or supernatural, 86% believe that people have a soul or a spirit in addition to their body. 83% believe in God or a universal spirit. But when you look at the percentage of people who actually attend a religious service, it's about 1 in 3. I have many complicated reasons/excuses why I don't attend church as much. Now, and the producer of this show is a pastor. So Dan's perspective on this, I'm actually very interested to hear your perspective on this. But Dan's personal journey is not the same as I think a lot of yours, where And maybe I'm projecting my own experience, but life gets busy. Your kids have stuff. You have things going on. At the same time, for me, when COVID came around, church was the last place that I wanted to be. When you think of people who are most at risk of COVID, and you can look back and think of all the things that we could have done differently during COVID. But I do think we knew back at that time, what we did know is that older people were most at risk. And who goes to church and sings at the top of their lungs with the loudest amens in the group? I don't want to be around that. And that developed a habit. And it's a lot easier to not go than it is to go, if that makes sense. But there was something about being in church yesterday that, for me, made me feel like kind of miss it. The community, the fellowship, being in a room with a bunch of people who are sort of turning themselves over to a greater power. There was something powerful about it. The number of people who've been going to church, it's down. I mean, no surprise, right? And for me as a Catholic, part of this is you look at a Catholic church, and I don't know if we've been in a 20-year cycle. When you tell people you're Catholic, you just brace yourself for the priest molesting joke that's going to come your way, or the "you hate gay people" comment. As far as public perception, I don't think it's been that good. It's not been that good. Not going to church doesn't make you less of a Christian, says a texter. I think that's true. I don't think you get, perfect attendance doesn't get you into heaven. But I do think actively not going, I don't know. We're all sort of kidding ourselves a little bit, right? Because it's in our own self-interest. I could sit here and tell you, I'm a great Catholic. But can you be a great practicing Catholic if you don't actually practice? Well, I guess if you sit and pray and consult kind of theological experts, maybe you are. I don't know. To me, not showing up it's a demerit. It's a little bit of a demerit. I don't know. This is not a theological perspective. This is me as a guy saying, if I'm not going, it's not as good as if you're going. If you want to convince yourself that it's the same, well, welcome to the club. I think you're you're kidding yourself. Texters. And then I want to hear what Dan has to say about this. I attend church every Sunday. How would I know when Monday is? Easter brings many more folks to church, often to be with other family members. At the end of our service on Easter Sunday, the priest, this priest had a very good, his name was Tony. I was at St. Joseph the Worker in Maple Grove. And Tony had a very good delivery. He says, "What a beautiful church today. The choir sounds amazing. The flowers are beautiful." And then he pauses and he says, "We do this every Sunday." And the laughter, because we all knew. Lots of texts coming in. I'll read your text. Dan is going to weigh in just a minute. Do you go to church? Has that changed? What changed? 651-461-9226. Drive Time continues here on CCO.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Ladies and gentlemen, I did it. Sunday. I did it. I was nervous because I've never done it before. I did something I've never done before. Sunday afternoon. I double smoked a ham. Yes. Hold your applause, everybody. I mean, let me tell you about this beautiful Minnesota pork, bone-in, gorgeous ham. So it was already smoked when I got it from the farm. And I got my ham from a farmer, but you can go to your grocery store, your butcher shop. You'll see beautiful Minnesota pork, Minnesota ham all over the place. But I put it in my charcoal grill, low and slow, and that thing was so delicious. 3,000 family farmers. That's what Minnesota pork is all about. Those farmers have been working, well, to a certain degree, they've been working for months, but in a larger spectrum, they've been working for more than 100 years to make that Minnesota ham so delicious for you. It's generations of expertise. It's taking care of the land, taking care of the soil, and taking care of those animals. Now that you had the ham, how about the pork shoulder? How about the pork chop? It's grilling season. Now that I know how to smoke meat, hey, let's go. I'll see you at the grocery store or the butcher shop, and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
Remember the good times when Matt V and the Killer V's bring I Am He Said, a celebration of the music of Neil Diamond, back to Treasure Island Resort and Casino. With almost 40 years in show business, the band will honor the legend with spot-on renditions of Sweet Caroline, Cracklin' Rosie, America, and more hits live in the Island Event Center on Wednesday, May 14th. Get your tickets at TICasino.com.
Thanks so much, everyone. God bless. Hope to see you again. Thank you.
1 in 5 Minnesota families can't afford the food they need. Your donation starts the change. Join Second Harvest Heartland on April 23rd for the 24-hour Harvest Giving Day. Every dollar you donate can be matched to provide 6 meals. Donate now at toharvest.org/24.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Jason DeRusha.
Who can say that they don't care about something with more passion than me? My passionate indifference is what makes this show special.
On News Talk 830, WCCO.
I went back to church on Easter, and I liked it. It felt good. I liked being there. And today, with the death of the Pope, certainly an opportunity for the Catholic Church as they select the new pontiff. And in the Star Tribune today, Andy Brem wrote a piece about how he joined the Catholic Church as an adult, and part of why was the message from Pope Francis, that it gets described as a more progressive approach, but really, to me, it was more of a focus on what Christianity and Catholicism has always been about, which is not about punishing people who make wrong decisions, but about putting other people first, people in need, taking care of your neighbor. Dan is a minister. Dan is a pastor. And so I'm curious for your take on this, Dan.
Well, what jumped out to me was the texture that said that you don't have to go to church to be a good Christian. And I would agree with that with a caveat. The church really isn't a building. It isn't a Sunday morning service. It isn't a Wednesday evening teens group. It isn't those things. It's a gathering of anybody that wants to share a life trying to follow the lessons and the teachings of Jesus, right? Wherever that happens, however that happens, fine. You want to do it on a Sunday morning, you want to do it on a Saturday evening, whenever you do, fine. That doesn't bother me. Where I cringe a little bit is the idea that we can do Christianity on our own, that we can do this life of faith all by ourselves. And I say that as somebody who came to faith as an adult, particularly attracted to the Protestant stream of faith because of their idea of a personal relationship with God, because I thought that meant, as an introvert, it could be me and God, and then I could dip my toe in the water wherever I felt like it, but I didn't have to really ground myself anywhere. And I've come to do a complete 180 on that idea. I think grounding yourself in some sort of community, and again, that doesn't have to be a Sunday morning service, but grounding yourself in some sort of community, whether that's a Bible study with a group of friends or whatever kind of way you want to express your faith, is important because A, it reminds you that not everybody's going to do this exactly the same way. And B, it reminds you that we do need each other. We desperately do need each other. We can't just do life all by ourselves. It just does not work. And so trying to be self-sacrificial and trying to live in a way that helps other people, as you were talking about, I'm a big fan of that as well, requires other people in our lives, because if we're always giving and nobody's giving to us, that doesn't work either. It's a community group effort kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if people don't want to go on a Sunday morning, that doesn't bother me a bit. What bothers me is the people that are out there saying, oh yeah, I'm a good Christian, and never bother to connect with any other Christians or talk about faith or actually try to integrate faith into their lives in meaningful, sacrificial ways.
Yeah, I think you can be a good person, but it doesn't, it doesn't mean that, I don't know. I think we all are trying to get through life, and we make excuses because it's easier to just say well, I'm doing it my own way. I don't know if I do think some people think they can do it alone. And a texter says here, I think this is sort of right. Weekly mass grounds my emotional being. You feed your body for health. You also need to feed your soul and your mind and prayer life. And I think that's all I'm getting at when you say, do what you want. I'm not saying that, people should make their own choice. I'm not saying you need this, you don't need this, but I do. I feel some of my own excuse making when I hear the well, I'm still a good Catholic. Sure. Not really. I go twice a year. Yeah. I'm a bad Catholic.
The way I've always described it to people is you can find your way out of a dense set of woods by yourself. Usually, it's a heck of a lot easier when you have a compass and a map, and it's even easier when you have other people in there with you to help you read that compass and map. And that's how I view faith, in terms of grounding yourself in something and then having a community around you to help you through it.
Jason, like you, I used to laugh at the Creasters. I am not sure why, but yesterday I reflected on what I miss: the community, the rights, the peacefulness. I do struggle with the priest abuse and the guilt I have amassed for sinning by not going. It will take time, but I would like to go back sometime. We need people around us. Yeah, that's what I felt yesterday too, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Craig's in Becker on the CCO Talk and Text line. Thanks for calling, Craig. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I go to church about 70% of the time. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people that are there. You say you go to the back queue because that's where we fill up first. And that's where we said, if I want to feel younger, that's a good place to go. I'm 61, and I'm probably one of the youngest people in the congregation. I just enjoy the people there and the community there, and just try to increase my faith. I got a long way to go. So I guess that's about it.
I like it. We all do. We all do, Craig. Thank you. Yeah, it's and so many really thoughtful texts coming in too. I don't go to church. I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic elementary school and Sunday mass, sometimes mass before school. Decided I can talk directly with God daily. Too many sermons about sin instead of joy. The school didn't teach the Bible. Most people attending Catholic mass are responding with rote answers, not meaningfully. Yeah, I think a lot of people, what's interesting is there is a younger and more Hispanic group of Americans who are reconnecting with really some of the most old school. This will be part of the fascinating thing to watch when it comes to the selection of the next pope, because all around the world you have this conflict. You have a younger generation that, in a world of seeming chaos, they want the reliability and the traditional old way of doing it. And then you also have people saying how are we ever gonna grow the faith if we don't let women be priests, for example? The American Catholic Church, I think, is, the rest of the The international Catholic world looks at we Americans as like sort of Catholic light. We're like the cute Catholics, like, oh, you guys are fine with a lot of stuff that the rest of the world isn't. To me, it is amazing that Pope Francis has been described as progressive for like not being hateful towards LGBT. And while I don't think religion should be operating on 100-year time spans, not 10-year kind of political movement time spans. For me, different churches have different paths, but I also do chuckle when this particular pope is described as progressive. I hope the Catholic Church doesn't go backwards, but we'll see. And the world is in a similar political kind of move as we are here in America. And so we'll see.
There's a lot of competing things. I mean, progressivism or that kind of description, that kind of spectrum obviously is a sliding scale.
Yeah,
obviously.
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that would look at Francis and progressive would not be the word that they'd use to describe him. And then there's plenty of people that absolutely would.
Without question, it is
pattern
in the scheme of Catholicism.
Right. Well, yes.
Think of other popes and other,
well, especially the one that he followed in Benedict, who was very much conservative. Nobody called Benedict progressive, that's for sure. But you do, I think, sort of see in the history of, papal elections that there is sort of, there's a change and then there's, okay, we're going to go the other way a little bit. Now, there's also the fact that Francis named a bunch of cardinals.
Yeah, that's who votes.
And he was very selective in who he was naming cardinals because he was trying to move the church in a certain direction. So
if we've learned
enough
anything,
of those cardinals, the ones that voted for him, the ones that he named,
we've learned a lot from the Donald Trump approach to stacking the judiciary. I mean, if you load it up, we'll see what happens.
It's going to be very interesting.
Appreciate everybody's text. It's just was something that was on my mind when those last words came out of the priest's mouth yesterday. I felt targeted. But it's had me thinking about this today. We're going to break. When we come back, fascinating couple of guests. Two CEOs of different marketing firms in town have come together to open a sports marketing agency. They're talking about women's sports, but they're talking about sports in general. Look forward to asking what that is all about, and we'll do that when we come back here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
This morning, city officials unveiled a new plan to...
Hang on, what did they unveil?
A new plan for building a new...
Okay, let's try this again.
Building a new arena for the...
Jerry, it's your boss.
Good thing I can rewind.
Hey, life happens. Catch up on anything you miss on CCO with the rewind function. Only on the Odyssey app. Download today.
Spring is here, and the rush for outdoor furniture is coming up fast. Now is the time to upgrade so you can enjoy your space all season long and for seasons to come. By the Yard builds premium, maintenance-free outdoor furniture, made to last and built to order right here in Minnesota. Backed by a 35-year warranty and priced direct to you with no middleman markup. Visit Woodbury, Maple Grove, or Jordan, or start your order at buytheyard.net. With By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Spring cleanup is just around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family and planning that spring break trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros, AdvantageHomePros.com.
Minnesota is known for setting a high standard in healthcare, and for good reason. With our state's world-renowned healthcare institutions, we have some of the best standards of medical care in the United States, right here at home. But now, dangerous legislation is moving through the Minnesota Legislature with loopholes that would allow optometrists, who are not medical doctors or trained surgeons, to perform surgery on the delicate tissues surrounding your eyes. It would even allow them to inject a needle directly into your eye, and with no additional training requirements. We only get one pair of eyes. They deserve surgical care from the highest trained medical doctors and surgeons, not a watered-down standard of care. In fact, 85% of Minnesotans agree. So, tell your state legislators to protect our high standards of surgical eye care and reject this dangerous plan. Paid for by the Minnesota Academy of Eye Physicians and Surgeons.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Problems up on the north side of the Metro, Highway 10 eastbound as you make way past Highway 65. Got an accident working there. Look for the left lane to be affected. If you're going to be traveling through that area, you will find it to be a bit sluggish. West 494 jammed up as you come in from Cedar Avenue, heading out toward Highway 100. Left lane closure in place for roadwork 35W northbound Burnsville split, heading up to Highway 13. When a loved one passes or it's time to settle in the state, the valuables left behind can feel overwhelming. At American Rare Coin and Collectibles in Bloomington, they can help navigate these moments with clarity and care. Peace of mind starts with your appointment at AmericanRareCoinAndCollectibles.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At Newgate School, we turn donated cars into success stories. For 49 years, we've helped underserved young adults in the Twin Cities learn automotive repair skills with zero tuition. Your vehicle donation can teach, fund, and also provide reliable transportation for single moms. Learn more at newgateschool.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Newgate School has been changing lives for over 45 years. Let's get the forecast from Chris Schaefer.
Let's call it rounds of rain. Scattered showers overnight that could linger into the morning commute. 45 will be the low. Decreasing clouds tomorrow. We get back to the sunshine with a high of 65. Up near 70 Wednesday with rain late that will spill into Thursday.
Right now, it is sunny out there. 59 degrees on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
When he showed up, when he ever did show up, it wasn't very nice.
There's other instances, though, where he just shows up places and he's like this great guy. But I've also heard that he can be quite difficult.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
No doubt we have seen the rise in women's sports. We saw it with the WNBA draft last week. Look, here in Minnesota, we've been in on this, right? With the success, the Minnesota Lynx. It is the NFL draft this week. There's just a lot going on in the sports world. And when I found out that two of our smartest marketing and ad executives in the upper Midwest have teamed up to launch a sports marketing agency. I'm like, we got to have them on the show. And here they are in studio with us. The CEO of Griffin Archer, Ellie Anderson, and the CEO of Media Bridge, Tracy Call. Tracy and Ellie, good to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
All right. What made you two, who both have plenty to do, you have your own agencies, what Ellie made you say, like, all right, I think we could do something here to really kind of laser focus in on sports marketing?
Sure. So thanks for having us again. And I think that one of the things we realized is both of us had been working in sports marketing for quite some time at our respective agencies. And we started to see that there were so many more opportunities opening up in sports. It wasn't just the big four anymore from, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball and hockey, but there were fringe sports and also the enormous rise in women's sports in the past 2 years. I think viewership is up something like 300%. So we wanted to be able to bring new opportunities to our clients in all of these spaces while still focusing on those core spaces as well.
It is like the rise of this, Tracy, has been amazing, hasn't it? I mean, we've seen it, and I do think, and tell me if you agree, but I do think in Minnesota, we have always maybe been a little more on the front edge of supporting some of these women's sports.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think especially with teams like the Minnesota Lynx here that are having sellout crowds and, winning national championships and have like such a all-star roster, that definitely helps.
You are an athlete. You're an athlete, right?
I am.
Is this true that you were on the U.S. Olympic bobsled team?
I was.
How was that? What was that like?
It was amazing. I mean, people always ask, what was it like? It feels like a controlled car crash, if that's if that's what you mean. I started late in my athletic career. I was recruited out of rugby from a rugby camp up in Saranac Lake, which is right next to Lake Placid. And I joined the team in 2008, right before the 2010 Olympics. I ended up blowing my knee right before the Olympics, so I did not get to participate and realize that dream. But the experience was amazing. I lived out of the Olympic Training Center and ran an agency out of the Olympic Training Center as well.
Ellie, when you think, and I know you're an avid tennis player.
Correct.
And you're a gymnast, right?
I did a lot of sports, nothing at the level of Tracy, but an avid athlete, I would say.
We do a lot of cartwheels when we win new business.
So when you look at this, I mean, what I'm curious about, because from here we are a mass media organization. I'm not a targeted. We do digital advertising here, but we're about hitting a broad base. And it's always difficult to know, like, all right, when does something cross over into the threshold where it's worth talking about more regularly? And last year, I think probably more than any talk station in town talked about the Lynx. And like, now is the time. Because to a certain degree, as the media, like, you feel like, okay, I can't just hide behind this. Like, well, once enough people watch, then I'll talk about it. Well, maybe you need to talk about it and more people will watch. How do you know, like, where that line is? Because we have a lot of these new, like, I think today there was a story about women's rugby. There's a professional women's Sorry, I'm not talking about professional women's rugby with any regularity on WCCO radio in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
totally. And I think if the question is, where's that line? I think we just have to remove the line. Like, let's just tell good stories and, give especially women and some of these fringe sports. Like,
what do you mean by fringe sports?
Pickleball, volleyball, rugby.
Do people get mad if you call it fringe sports? I think.
No,
it is a fringe sport.
It is a fringe sport. It's not like like you said, big mass sport yet, but how does it become mass appeal is if we start talking about it. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to approach sports marketing in a whole different way, where we're exposing brands to some of these other sports instead of just going along with whatever the CEO, whatever their favorite sport is, because they want a suite, right? So we're saying, okay, buy the suite to your favorite sport, which is usually a male sport, and let's back into decisions for your brand by looking at what does the data say, and like how are we, like, what sport will really reach your target audience, and what makes sense for your budget, because a lot of these brands can't afford these big NFL deals, and so like what is an easier entry point that will also give you an ROI, which is important too.
That's Tracy Call, Ellie Anderson. Their new agency is called Highlight Reel. One of the things I bristle at in the marketing of women's sports, I have 2 sons. And you know what? I want my freaking sons to watch the WNBA, and they do.
Yeah.
We sat there with my 18-year-old high school senior and watched the WNBA draft. From a marketing standpoint, though, no one's marketing to Sam. You know what I mean? He's going to watch the WNBA like crazy. But much of the marketing is really for girls or for women. And I wonder if that's an opportunity, because there are a lot of guys, I think, who are watching these sports too.
And I think that's one thing I realized when I went to the Big Ten championships last year. It was the first time, I believe, that the women's Big Ten championships had sold out the men's here in town. And I was really just like pleasantly surprised when I looked out into the crowd and I saw all of these little boys wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys.
Yeah.
And to me, it gave me goosebumps. And I was like, this is a differentiating moment. And kind of like you talking about your sons now watching sports, women's sports in particular.
What does that tell you?
Well, I just think that it's finally gaining the momentum. We've always had passionate women in sports, but we didn't have the mass appeal kind of across the board. And it was the Caitlin Clark effect. I mean, I hate to say that, but it really did contribute to that. And now we just want to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, there's no question that the star power always makes a difference. But Tracy, you talk about some of the other sports that there's opportunity out there. What are some of the sports that you kind of have your eye on that you think are maybe underappreciated from the marketing standpoint?
I mean, really all women's sports. So like just across the board, but specific sports that I'm looking at and we're looking at, and the research is showing that there's a lot of activity around, is pickleball is a big one right now. There's a lot of momentum with pickleball. Pickleball's everywhere. There's a lot of athletes right now that we're working on endorsements with and looking at endorsements for. And then women's volleyball is another big one that has some opportunity. Locally, there's the Frost with the women's hockey team. So the sky's the limit. Soccer, of course, women's soccer is also having a moment.
I think of the top 3 most watched women's sports events last year were the WNBA draft, obviously, the Women's FIFA World Cup, and then all of the women's Grand Slam tennis events, which are also huge opportunities.
That's Ellie Anderson, Tracy Call, Highlight Reel. You're going to the NFL draft, right?
You know what? I think I am going to pop over there for a couple days.
Green Bay, why not?
So close by.
Are there brands that you think get it, that are like on the front edge of this, that are like, yep, doing a good job?
You know what? I've had the fortunate opportunity to work with Sleep Number, which is a company here in town, and they've done
NFL,
their
getting
NFL
those beds has been so smart.
Yeah, and we've been able to work with them kind of since the beginning of their NFL partnership, and it has been extraordinary to watch. It is a very integrated and authentic brand partnership. 80% of the NFL athletes are actually sleeping on Sleep Number beds.
Yeah.
So it's more than just, a logo play in a stadium, but it's very integrated. And, kudos to Sleep Number and the team over there for, putting together such an amazing partnership over the years. And we've been fortunate at Griffin Furniture to be a part of that.
Those are some big beds for those NFL guys. Some of those guys are big. Yeah. Tracy.
And then, another brand, since you asked, that's doing a great job is Blaze Credit Union. So they're integrating their entire marketing campaign by using really smart creative and tying in their sports sponsorships from some of the men's sports that they're doing. But they were one of the first, I think, clients that I'm aware of that signed a deal with Lindsay Whalen, Carrie Tolferson, which is the world-class runner, and Greta Myers, who's on the speed skate team. So they're getting into these fringe sports by endorsing some of these really great female athletes, and they're seeing some traction from that, and I'm proud of them.
I also want to give a huge shout out to Hy-Vee, who is obviously a big client here in the Midwest, who was the first company to officially do a major NIL deal with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
and that vision for them to see that has been extraordinary.
Yeah, and you think today it's so obvious, right? But when they did it, nobody was doing it.
No.
Yeah. And so what's cool about, I think, what you guys are doing with Highlight Reel, and that's Ellie Anderson and Tracy Call, is, companies need help with this sort of stuff. And to be able to identify who are these next edge people, where you get a little more bang for your buck, quite honestly, doing I have some friends who've done sponsorship with the Vikings, It's a great audience. It's a great product, but whoo, boy, it's not cheap, right? And there are lots of companies that probably want to get in on something, but don't know what to do.
Yeah, and no longer is it enough to just slap a logo up in a stadium. Brands are looking for an actual ROI now. So getting into these,
don't I know it, Tracy? We're doing influencer stuff on the air. We're doing it on social media, and it's metrics up the wazoo.
Yeah, and a lot of these women's sports or fringe sports appreciate it more, and so they're going the extra mile to really over deliver for these brands as well, and they care.
Cool. It's really fun. Minnesota and Minneapolis has always been sort of on the front edge of advertising trends and marketing trends, and I just think highlight reel is going to be something to watch as you guys continue moving forward. Thanks for coming in to talk to us about it. Go ahead.
I got one more thing.
Is this another shout out?
No, you mentioned like a few minutes ago about our city really taking the lead in women's sports. And I know there's a huge push right now by our city and by Meet Minneapolis and a few other groups to make this the #1 destination for women's sports in the nation. So I just want to
smart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for
good luck.
Us.
Highlight Reel is the name of the company. 349. Nancy Mace is nuts. Maybe you've seen this video. It's disgusting. I'm going to talk about it when we come back.
More Drive Time with DeRusha is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, this weekend, I hope you got a chance to get out to my men's clothing store, J.H. & Sons at the Galleria in Edina. It's Jason. On my Instagram page, and I'm going to put this up on our live stream right now. There's a video of me taking 17-year-old Sam to J.H. & Sons. And I got to tell you, there's something special about taking your kid for that first suit experience. Having the chance to have Sam walk around and take a look at the options, get measured by a tailor, the best tailor in town, Dean, who's been taking care of guys for generations. The Halberstadt family has been making guys look good for 50 plus years. They started in St. Cloud with a men's store in downtown. Then they go to Sioux Falls. Now they're back here, back at home, getting it done for you. Experience the difference. Wedding season right around the corner. Maybe you got a kid like me. You want a special graduation or prom suit that'll last through a couple years of college. Maybe you got a wedding coming up. You want to look your best. Go to J.H. & Sons at the Galleria. You can sign up for their email list, too. You'll be the first to know about parties or special deals at the store, jhandsons.com.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
I'm John Taft, Vice Chairman of Baird. For over 100 years, Baird's people and expertise have made a difference in the financial advice and services we provide. Our experts on 3 continents combine diverse backgrounds and perspectives to meet your needs. Being nationally recognized as a great place to work helps Baird attract the best people in our industry to advise you. Experience a different kind of financial partnership. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Power Up Series brought to you by Swiffer Power Mop. Using a mop and bucket is not the only way to get your floors clean. There's a quicker way. Kick the bucket with the Swiffer Power Mop. It has built-in solution that breaks down dirt and grime, and a pad with 300+ scrubbing strips that absorb and lock sticky messes. Brought to you by the Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one cleaning tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. Mop smarter with the Swiffer Power Mop.
Is your AC ready for summer? Don't wait for the heat to hit. Weak airflow, warm air, strange noises. These are warning signs your AC needs attention. Our skilled technicians offer AC repair services or replacements to keep your family cool all summer long. Don't sweat it. 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning has your back. Here to keep your home cool all summer. Visit onehour.com to schedule today. Financing options available.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code RADIO. Swishradio.com, code RADIO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Slowdowns place, West 94 as you make way toward Hemlock Lane, making your way up toward Weaver Lake Road, 610 westbound, slowing, make way toward I-94. 10 westbound jamming up as you move past Egret, heading up toward Hanson Boulevard. On the east side of the metro, you'll find some slowing, 694 northbound 94 up to 15th. I'm Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, it is pretty nice outside right now. Tonight we get down to 45. Scattered showers tonight. Tomorrow up to 65. Wednesday up to 68. A little bit of rain off and on all week. It's been dry, so we can use it. Right now it is 59 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
There was a time if you were an elected official and you yelled F you at a constituent, at anyone, you would be embarrassed. You'd be embarrassed by this. Today, we are in the dumbest time in the history of America. And U.S. Representative Nancy Mace, inside an Ulta, let's just say she escalated a situation where a guy asked her about future town halls.
I have town halls every year. I have over a dozen every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to
Yeah.
go into the spiel about
You could have come to any of them last year.
Okay. And I'm
I had
asking
over a
about this year, not
dozen.
2024. But
Where were you the year before that? Or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question. I
because
asked
you know
if
what?
have
Because you
anyone
people
that you're
on the
going to
left
this year
are
or not.
crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely f***ing crazy.
Okay. That's aggressive. That's aggressive. She writes on X, some unhinged lunatic, a man wearing Daisy Dukes at a makeup store, got in my face today. Dems are nuts, so I went off and I won't be backing down. Oh, you're so tough, Nancy Mace. Listen to this goof.
I'm absolutely
You are, and get out of my face. Goodbye. You.
You're going to me and you're
Yep,
going to be voted
bye.
out so fast this year. I
I'm
can't
not.
wait for you to
I'm
fucking
not.
go into
I
the
won by
midterm.
so much.
You're a disgrace to this state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question and you just to go on this tirade and tell me you.
Yeah, you.
Disgusting.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Try it again. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Yep, I sure did.
All right, you get the idea. You get the idea.
Come on, I put a lot of work into those bleeps, Jason. We can at least.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Now, there are plenty of people, I'm sure plenty of people will text in and say, like, good, she should have. You know what? A United States Congresswoman, that she thought this was so cool that she posted it on her own account. Grow up. Just pathetic. We vote for this kind of garbage. Next time you get all excited about wanting someone who will fight for you, maybe be like a little more specific. Like fight, like in a relatively polite, civil way. I don't know, man. Someday, I worry about us. I'll tell you that much.
When you're hiring,
Have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
I've got the rake out. I'm cleaning out my closets, and I'm looking at all of my old windows. It's Jason DeRusha for Window Nation. April is such a good time to spruce up around your house. Let's get rid of the old, drafty, ugly, hard-to-open windows and start fresh. Window Nation has an unbelievable deal right now. Buy 4, get 4 free. No limit to how much you could save it if you buy a house full of windows. They're including a free entry door as well. 0% financing, 0 down, no monthly payments. You're getting new windows today and paying Zippo until 2027. So how do they do it? Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation. They're building windows to their high-quality specs, and Window Nation passes the savings on to you. You're protecting your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of those other brands. This sale does end soon, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of the buy 4, get 4 free. Schedule your free estimate right now at 866-90NATION or get to windownation.com.
At Metro Heating and Cooling, we offer the highest quality products at comfort zone pricing. We won't try to sell you what you don't need. Metro Heating and Cooling and Plumbing. Honest, reliable, and affordable.
Metro Heating and Cooling.
MetroHeating.com.
Up-to-date news, in-depth discussion on what it all means. News Talk 830 WCCO and 102.9 KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming now on the free Odyssey app. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Millions around the world are mourning Pope Francis.
As a Catholic, I feel sad, also as a human, but also very happy that he gave his life until the end, as we all should do.
Correspondent Matt Piper.
The Vatican says Pope Francis died of a stroke that put him into a coma and led to irreversible heart failure. Francis, who suffered from chronic lung disease and had part of one lung removed as a young man, was admitted to Grinnelli Hospital on February 14th for a respiratory crisis that developed into double pneumonia. He spent 38 days there.
Odyssey New York reporter Juliet Papa.
New York's Timothy Cardinal Dolan asked for prayers for Pope Francis. After an early morning mass, His Eminence described Francis' expression of faith and leadership.
In his simplicity, in his humility, in his easygoingness. Boy, these were gifts that he stewarded so well.
Here at St. Patrick's Cathedral, the faithful mourn and look ahead.
And hopefully with the Catholicism and the strong Catholic Church we can have somebody that follows in his footsteps.
Prayers said for Francis and the future Pope.
After his burial, cardinals from around the world will vote on the next Pope. CBS's Nora O'Donnell.
Many of the cardinals who will gather soon in this conclave were appointed by Pope Francis, and they are to, in his model and in his image in some ways, embrace many of the same things. So they are to carry on his legacy.
There's more scrutiny of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, as Stacey Lynn reports.
Pete Hegseth allegedly shared classified information in a group chat which included his wife, brother, and attorney. The messages were sent on the same day as a separate group chat he had with administration officials that inadvertently included a journalist. President Trump was asked if he still has confidence in his defense secretary.
Why do you even ask a question like that? We have recruitments that's at an all-time high. The spirit in the armed forces is fantastic. Great confidence.
The Supreme Court seems likely to uphold a key preventative care provision of the Affordable Care Act. The case could have big ramifications for millions of people on statins to prevent heart disease or getting lung cancer screenings. The wife of New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez has been convicted of collecting bribes with her husband. The markets were off all day after more criticism from President Trump of the Fed chair. Mark Hamrick of Bankrate.
Investors are concerned that the credibility of the Federal Reserve, its viability,
of the Federal Reserve is at stake. And we know that the White House has talked about trying to remove the Fed chairman.
The Dow dropped to 971 points. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly sunny, 59 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. A mass at the Cathedral of St. Paul today kicked off 9 days of masses to honor the life of Pope Francis. Archbishop of the St. Paul and Minneapolis Archdiocese, Bernard Hebda.
Certainly those who have a great love for the poor, for the immigrant, for the imprisoned, for the sick. I think all of them found in Pope Francis an inspiration. We just celebrated here on Saturday. We had 16 baptisms and 16 more confirmations. And many of those people, many of them would be able to tell you that they received great encouragement from the example of Pope Francis.
Hebda added that the Pope publicly prayed for the Twin Cities in the days following the death of George Floyd nearly 5 years ago. Public safety, housing, and the revival of downtown topping the list of St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter's annual State of the City address today. Carter credited the police department's focus on building relationships for notable drops in crime, including the fact that St. Paul hasn't had a gun-related homicide yet this year. He also talked about revitalizing downtown and how having workers back in the office will help a great deal.
City employees are embracing an office-first posture to help bring energy back to our core. And as state workers prepare to do the same, we see another powerful opportunity to build on our momentum.
Carter also outlined plans for more housing, new strategies for combating the fentanyl crisis, and continuing infrastructure improvements. Minneapolis police also reporting a slowdown in homicides this year. In fact, a weekend killing is the city's first in 2 months. A 27-year-old Maple Grove man was shot in the neck outside of a River Road apartment complex. Police are still searching for suspects. Former State Senator Justin Eichhorn back in court today. He pleaded not guilty to a federal charge against him, attempted enticement of a minor. His attorneys also have filed a motion asking a federal judge to modify his release restrictions so he can see his own children. As part of his release prior to trial, he was barred from interacting with anyone under 18, except in the presence of an adult. Boaters and paddlers are slowly returning to Minnesota's lakes and streams as more water opens up across the state. And with that comes a reminder from the Minnesota DNR to be prepared for the cold water. Spokeswoman Lisa Dugan says early spring and late fall can be particularly dangerous for boaters.
And oftentimes, those are the times of the year where there's maybe less boaters on the water. People are getting out by themselves, not bringing a buddy. So there's kind of an increased risk of going out in cold water. If something happens, help maybe a little bit further away.
30% of fatal boating accidents happen during the cold water periods. The DNR recommends using insulated life jackets this time of year for extra protection if you happen to go in the water. WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Got your slowdowns for Highway 13 eastbound, making your way toward 35W with the slowdowns beginning back before County Road 5. If you're going to be traveling the crosstown, got your heavy traffic there, both directions as you make way between Tracy Avenue and Cedar Avenue. Up on the north side, you're going to find slowdowns for 610 eastbound Broadway over to 252. Tickets are available at ticasino.com or make a night of it with a hotel stay. Treasure Island offers the perfect escape with a variety of hotel rooms, package options, luxurious spa, action-packed gaming floor, and a variety of dining options. For tickets, more information, and to book a hotel stay, visit ticasino.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by Gutman Law, wills, trusts, and probate law at gutmanlaw.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Those May flowers should be looking really good this year. Scattered showers return overnight, could linger into the morning commute, 45 the overnight low. Then the clouds clear out again tomorrow, much like today. We'll see sunshine later with a high of 65, mostly cloudy on Wednesday with a high up near 70 before, wait for it, more rain showers return late and last into Thursday.
Mostly sunny right now, 59 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
To get to the bottom of the day's biggest news, be here at the top of every hour. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
Do you feel safer? Laura's news got me thinking about this. Welcome to Hour 2 at Drive Time. It's Jason along with Dan and Laura. Do you feel safer than you did in Minneapolis and in St. Paul? Maybe than you did last year or the year before? 651-461-9226. I have always felt safe. There have been periods post-COVID that I have felt more uneasy. Some of that has to do with being in an empty downtown, which is no longer empty. It's less active than it was pre-COVID, but there are enough people around that it puts me more at ease. And then some of the unease, frankly, was because of young people stealing cars, and it made me nervous. Today, I feel safe. Doesn't mean everything's solved. But as Laura said, in St. Paul, a 73% drop in non-fatal shootings, 0 gun-related homicides this year. In Minneapolis, there was a man who was shot dead outside a North Minneapolis apartment building on Saturday night. That was the first homicide in 2 months. And looking at the crime dashboard for Minneapolis, assaults are down over last year, burglaries down, vandalism down, homicide way down. Every crime category is down. What I'm curious if it's down is our attitudes about it, our conversation about it. If I've learned anything when it comes to conversations about crime, it's that you cannot defeat vibes with data. And if the vibes are off, it feels unsafe, then it is unsafe. And I can bring out all the data in the world, and you can tell me about the one person that is the friend of the other person who heard from another person that they got carjacked. And data is data, but how you feel in this scenario, I think, is what really matters. And also, we have an obligation to update your vibes. So if your vibes are telling you, man, Minneapolis, more like Murderapolis, am I right? If that's your bit, you do have an obligation to check in every once in a while and see if you're still being accurate. Because I think there are a lot of people who have gotten used to this idea that it's unsafe. And again, I'm not trying to cover up or wash away the problems that have been here. I think that the state politicians and the city politicians were way too slow to react to a real change into safety in our cities. I also think that while murders get the headlines, most people's feeling as to whether or not it's safe in the city come down to much lower grade crimes, right? We talk about murders, we talk about homicides. If you have a lot, I'll speak for myself. When I read about the scenario behind most murders, Pretty hard to imagine like how I could have ended up in that scenario, right? Like that's just the reality. Every once in a blue moon, some random person gets caught in the crossfire, gets caught in the middle of something. But by and large, that's not what is happening with that top level of crime. When you think about crime that people are worried about, it's getting your cell phone or your wallet stolen, or someone throwing a brick through your car. But I bring up those other stats because those are all down too. I don't know if people have caught up their rhetoric with the reality. And maybe there's no, for some people, there's no victory, right? Like there's no level where you say like, all right, like I'm going to move on to complaining about taxes or unresponsive government. But to me, the crime data is pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm telling you, my vibes, I feel safe. I'm telling you, the worst of the worst crimes are down. I think people should update your bit. I'd be curious if people have come downtown for sporting events or anything like that, if they feel safer. Do you feel that any progress is being made? I feel that there is progress being made. No, we still don't have anywhere near enough police officers in the city of Minneapolis. But the efforts that are going on from law enforcement to try to confiscate guns, man, I think confiscating illegal guns has a pretty direct line to reducing crime. What's interesting about like this dip that we're seeing, and again, it's only April, summer's coming. Like I'm trying not to overreact to this, but if you had 3 murders in a weekend, you'd all be reacting to that. I think that something's going right. Something has changed. Do we know exactly what it is? I tend to think like politicians are quick to take credit for dips in crime, and they can trot out 400 different reasons why crime is going up. We don't have a great handle as to why these things go the way they go. But, if you look at the over 3-year average, and this is all on the city of Minneapolis crime dashboard where they report this stuff out. But, assault over the 3-year average is slightly up. It's slightly up, 0.5%. Destruction of property is up quite a bit from 3 years, but down 5% year over year. Just seems like things are moving in the right direction. And I guess I haven't really detected much of a change in people's views on this. Jason, Minneapolis is not safe, says a texter from the 320. Progress is being made, but it's nowhere near okay to say it's safe. If we were fully staffed, maybe. But no, the trends may say it's going down, but it's not safe. I suppose the question is, what is safe? Like, what is, and this is a difficult conversation to have because we don't want to say like, well, 10,000 assaults in a year, that's safe. Like, that's still like a hell of a lot of assault. But we are a city. This is America. There is a certain amount of crime. What is that safe level? I mean, the data I'm looking at is 3 years out. I suppose you could go and say, like, did you feel, and maybe that's the question, Dan, like, did people feel safe 3 years ago? Did you feel safe pre-COVID? Maybe, maybe not. I think progress is happening. It's not perfect, but I do think if your bit is that, man, these cities aren't safe, check your bet. 4:17, let's break. When we come back, Monday message from Dan Cook here on CCO.
Jason DeRusha and DriveTime needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
How is your lawn? I bet it's loving the rain. I'll tell you that much. It's Jason here, and I am grateful that already I've had the Pro Turf truck parked in front of my house, taking care of those kind of pre-emergent weeds, those crabgrass. No crabgrass invited to my yard. A Pro Turf will take care of your yard as well. You can reach out to the team if you go to professionalturf.com or call 952-469-8680. Maybe you're like me. You think like, I'm going to do it myself. Save some money. Do you do it? Do you really get out there and take care of it? And do the products, the generic products you buy that are meant for one size fit all, do they get the job done? Pro Turf will come out, give you an in-person estimate, and they will design a solution for your lawn. You deserve to have your lawn be the best lawn on the block, and Pro Turf can make it happen. Now, think about your landscape. I was looking out at my front yard. I got a couple of those giant arborvitae that have been growing for 25 years in front of my house. They're so big. Most landscape can only last about 30 years before they are overgrown and unusable. Consider investing in your home and really doing a whole landscape project with Pro Turf. They can replace the whole thing. They could do a simple foundation too, or landscape removal and replacement, but maybe paver patio or driveways, block, boulder, retaining walls. They can do it all. 952-469-8680. They take care of my yard. They would love to take care of yours. Go to professionalturf.com.
1 in 5 Minnesota families can't afford the food they need. Your donation starts the change. Join Second Harvest Heartland on April 23rd for the 24-hour Harvest Giving Day. Every dollar you donate can be matched to provide 6 meals. Donate now at toharvest.org/24.
Marine, we sell more, that's why we're selling for less. It's the Factory Scratch and Dent Truckload Sale, exclusively at Miller Marine. For a limited time, get fishing boats starting at just $19,999 plus applicable fees, with payments starting under $200 a month, like a 2025 side console smoker craft with 60 horsepower Yamaha and trailer with swing tongue. Or hop into a brand new pontoon starting at just $26,990 plus applicable fees, with payments starting under $225 a month. We're passing huge factory savings directly to you, up to $50,000 off select models. Shop over 100 boats inside the largest showroom in Minnesota. Miller Marine is the world's largest Bennington dealer, now selling premier pontoons and skier boats backed by our award-winning service team, the top-ranked Yamaha dealer in the nation. We buy more, so we sell for less. Only at Miller Marine. Miller Marine, Miller Marine, Miller Marine, we sell more, that's why we're selling for less at Miller Marine.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Why do you keep having this scumbag on? Wow. Noted scumbag. Sleaze bag is good too.
I prefer noted scumbag.
Yes.
Right?
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Making Sunday's sermon have Monday meaning. Now, let's hear faith-based teaching with real-world application. Here's our own Dan Cook with today's Monday message.
A lot more people at church over this weekend, Easter weekend. And Dan, of course, reflecting like a lot of us on the reason for this day.
Yeah, and what I want to say to people today is that I think we all need the resurrection story, whether we're followers of Jesus or not. I think the resurrection story is an important thing, can be an important thing to all of us. And here's what I mean by that. For churches that follow the liturgical calendar, Easter is not a day, it's a season. It's a 50-day season. And that's the reason that they treat it as a season is because the idea of resurrection isn't a singular event. We focus on the resurrection of Jesus, and that's obviously enormously important. It's central to the Christian story. But resurrection is more than just that, right? Restoration and renewal are God's promise to us. And we see that baked into the very fabric of reality. The very molecules, Jason, that make up you and I, the very elements that make up our bodies, were born out of the hearts of dying stars that exploded and spread those elements all over the cosmos. We're coming out of the season of winter when so much looks lifeless. And so much of the things that looked lifeless during winter are now flowering, are now coming out of hibernation, are now producing new life. Resurrection, restoration, renewal is all around us constantly in the cycle of life. And the reason I think that's so important for people, even if you're not a Christian, is because the element of hope that it gives us. It tells us that even though there are dark times in our lives, and those dark times can stretch on and on and on, new life is always coming. Restoration, renewal, resurrection is always coming. You and I were talking earlier today. One of my big fears about where we are in this moment in our country is that there are two disparate realities being formed. And people are choosing which one of those realities they want to live in.
Yeah.
And my fear is that eventually those realities are going to grow so far apart that there isn't going to be a way to find our way back to each other again. That's a huge fear of mine. It's one of the reasons I do what I do, both here on the radio and as a pastor, is to try and remind people that there are things bigger than the realities that we've created for ourselves. And those things are what connect us together. But part of the reason that I have hope, even though I see those things going in different directions, and I really don't know how they're going to come back together again. One of the reasons I have hope is because of the resurrection story. Is because even in the very darkest of times, there is always hope. One of the things Christians, I think, we don't do well enough, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody. We don't do Good Friday very well because we know Resurrection Sunday is coming. And so trying to live into that moment on Friday and what Jesus' followers must have felt as death was the only thing that they knew and understood at that point. Yeah. They didn't know resurrection was coming the way that they were going to know it 3 days from then.
Had to be a hell of a weekend.
You would think, right? I mean, Friday and Saturday, not a lot of good things going, not a lot of good vibes.
Right.
We're talking about vibes, right? And yet, one of the reasons the resurrection story is so central to all of our lives is the hope that we now can look back on that incident with and then carry forward into our lives. It's been a long time in our country, in our society, since we felt like we've been living in the same reality. I mean, we're talking 8-10 years. I mean, at least, right? It's been a long time now that this has been building and building and building. And I don't know, like I said, when it comes back together or how it comes back together. I fear greatly that it won't, that this whole thing has to somehow break down for something new to come out of it. But I always have that hope that if it's not going to come back together, something new and better will come out of it. And I base that in the resurrection story. Restoration, renewal are around us constantly. And the hope that is born from that resurrection, that restoration, and that renewal is what carries us through the darkness communally, the darkness societally, and the darkness in each of our individual lives. And that's why I think it's so critically important that we pay attention to the world around us and the creation, the way that it's baked into the creation's very nature, this idea of resurrection. That's why yesterday was important. The rest of the Easter season is important. And having that hope is so critically important.
The Monday message.
There's your Monday message.
Did you have some Easter candy? I mean, it feels like so heavy.
I mean, Easter is a joyous event, and I get that. And like I said, I do. But the reason for the joy, here's the thing: the hope that this is providing isn't about. I just got to huddle up, be by myself, and keep my fingers crossed because God's got this and everything's going to be okay. The hope that we receive from this resurrection story is meant to inspire us to do and be better. That there is resurrection and restoration and renewal coming, and we should be living into that reality as though it's already here. It gives me a direction. It gives me a target to head towards. And it inspires me to do better and be better than I was yesterday.
Nice.
And that can enjoy that can
like I got the robin's eggs. I did get the candy.
You were very happy about your robin's eggs.
The robin's eggs
happy for
were there.
I held my tongue the whole time you were searching for those, but they're really honestly one of the most disgusting candies. I just
You hate them.
I'm not a Whopper.
Do you not like a Whopper?
No, I don't know. But I didn't want to steal your joy, and I know that you were trying to find them and having joy in finding them, and that's great. Awesome. I love that for you. I'll stick with the jelly beans. Thanks.
Jelly beans are
they're delicious. They're fruity. They're sugary. They're delicious.
Like, who needs that much sugar? Ugh. That's the Monday message. I mean, we all do. Easter is family. It's all of those things, right?
It is.
And that's part of the beauty.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
You bet.
We're going to break. When we come back, two women are going through a struggle, breast cancer. And they have taken this challenge. Well, first of all, they've survived, which is amazing. And now they're trying to tell stories. A documentary they're working on. A couple of local entrepreneurs, nonprofit folks. Should be good stuff. We'll talk about that coming up.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO. Call in.
Thanks for taking my call.
Make your point.
Are you insane? All the people should be ashamed of themselves.
Be heard.
I'm taking a deep breath, but on the inside, I'm freaking out.
Well, what would you expect as response to be?
You've got a take?
My thing is, if not now, when?
That's all I got to say, man. That's enough.
Don't just listen. Jump in.
I'm a little stressed out, but my God, you guys.
That's my thought.
Your voice matters here. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Spring cleanup is just around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family in planning that spring break trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros, AdvantageHomePros.com.
So, you want to buy a house. You could go online, do your research, find the dream listing, go see it, and get catfished. Back to the drawing board. More scheduling, more viewings, more. This doesn't even look like the photos. You could finally find one that does match the photos. Then comes the offer. Stress rush? Yep, make that 3. And here's the paperwork. Yep, never-ending paperwork. It's a lot. But you don't have to do it alone. Because there's an agent who's a realtor here to guide and help protect you as you find the home that's right for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Good morning, Doctor. Doctor? Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet, you need to pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, BC of Aspire Integrated Health. Dr. Tevlin, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is actually nerve damage to the feet, hands, and legs.
And what are the symptoms?
The major symptoms are numbness, tingling, burning, muscle cramps, coldness in hands or feet, and problems with balance.
So is neuropathy treatable?
It is absolutely treatable, and we can get some great results.
Call 651-504-3333 today to schedule a nerve damage screening.
This screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a good candidate for our innovative treatment program.
Don't wait until your symptoms symptoms are so severe that nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. Call 651-504-3333. The first 25 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 651-504-3333. Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, DC. Results may vary.
You'll feel better, you'll sleep better, and it's all coming to you for free. That's right. Jordana Green here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Mini Leaf products are free shipping all of April. That triple diamond pain cream is perfect for any pain you're having and maybe even any bug bites or a sunburn that you're having. Want to sleep better? Those Sleep Night gummies will definitely do it. Go to MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. They really help me through my cancer recovery. They help me get off my Ambien. Those Sleep Night gummies are a real charm. MINNELEAF.com. That's minileaf.com. Free shipping throughout the month of April. Tell them Jordana sent you when you go to minileaf.com. Free shipping all of April.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
West 694 as you make your way toward White Bear Avenue. Crash working. Left lane shut down. Things are packed and stacked as you come away from Highway 36. On the eastbound side, expect some slowing past Highway 61. West 94 slow into Minneapolis past Cretin Avenue. East 94, that's jammed up. Highway 55. Heading over to Riverside. Crosstown eastbound. Slowdowns in place as you make the run between Gleason and Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you have trees to trim or need tree removal, call an ISA certified arborist. Call the CCO Land Company I use. B&M Tree Service, 1-800-569-9034. Or get on the web, bnmtree.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather is brought to you by B&M Tree Service. Let's get the latest from Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Let's call it rounds of rain. Scattered showers overnight that could linger into the morning commute. 45 will be the low. Decreasing clouds tomorrow. We get back to the sunshine with a high of 65. Up near 70 Wednesday with rain late that will spill into Thursday.
Right now, it is sunny in downtown Minneapolis, 59 degrees on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
He does an incredible job, and he's not only a great announcer, but an even better person. So.
Wow.
DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Local women telling the story of other women as they work through the emotions, work through the medical scenario around breast cancer. It is a documentary under production right now. It's called 1 in 8.
Let's call it.
Whoop. That's not it. That's not a woman. That's Chris Schaefer. We got the clip. Here we go. Take a look.
Hey everyone, we're at DNN Studios in Minneapolis with Jaquelyn Vranicar with Vranicar, and we are filming the 1 in 8 documentary. We have an incredible crew who is setting up for another interview here shortly, and we've had a day full of pampering and love for the women who are interviewing today to tell us their stories of breast cancer survivorship and struggle and overcoming those and really showing the reality of what breast cancer is. And I cannot wait for the final product and sharing it with all of you.
That is Jaquelyn Vranicar, Amy Brace, involved in this project, and they're both with us in studio today. Jaquelyn and Amy, good to have you guys here.
Hey, Jason. Thank you for having us.
Jaquelyn, why don't you start and tell us how this project and that little clip was of a filming day with you and a bunch of other survivors, but how did this come about?
So the long story short is I have stage 4 breast cancer. And after I was diagnosed, I really became immersed in the diagnosis, obviously, because it's life-changing.
Of course, yeah. Were you at that stage when you were diagnosed?
Yeah, I was diagnosed.
Did you know what that means?
No. So
it sounds horrible.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Well, I was diagnosed de novo, which means my very first mammogram at 38, it was already metastasized to my liver. So, yeah, it's been devastating. But I mean, by looking at me though, right, you don't know that I have a stage 4 cancer.
Not.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of that was really big part of why we wanted to do this. So we saw the Super Bowl commercial I think everyone saw the Super Bowl commercial, and I kind of looked over and saw lots of very bountiful women bouncing around the screen. And I thought, wow, what is this commercial for? But it's a Super Bowl, so you roll with it. And then it's a drug commercial with Wanda Sykes trying to promote women's health. And I kind of felt they missed the mark. And I kind of got an ick feeling about it. Someone, as someone who's living with this incurable terminal disease. The answer was no. A lot of women felt that way. And so I just said, hey, send me your pictures of what breast cancer really looks like to you. And that's when my friend Amy Brace of Amy's Cupcake Shop in Hopkins, go get a cupcake, she was like, hey, yeah, I want part of this. And so she sent me photos of her experience. And a couple of days later, she was like, hey, do you want to go to lunch? Really? And at lunch, suddenly she has a whole film crew and legit production happening, and that's how we ended up at DNN Studios in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Amy Brace is with us in Studio 2.
We don't do it small.
No, there's going to be a crew wherever you go.
Yeah.
You were more recently diagnosed, right?
Yep. October 3rd of 2022 actually is when I was diagnosed, and I was diagnosed with stage 1, which has a survival rate of 96% for 5 years. And the whole reason for this project is to bring more light to stage 4, which is what Jackie has, because the 5-year survival rate is 22%. So only 1 to 2% of funding for breast cancer actually goes to stage 4 breast cancer, which is the one that kills us, really.
Yeah.
And our documentary is named 1 in 8 because 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their life. And 1 of 3 of those women, it will turn into metastatic breast cancer.
Why do you think there isn't as much research on the stage 4, Jacqueline?
I think, well, gosh, if I had the answer, I'd just go solve it. But really, a lot of money goes into promotion of early detection. And you hear a lot of early detection is key, which I don't think it's not important. However, like Amy said, if women are deemed cured and then years or decades later have recurrence of stage 4 and then die from it, the early detection isn't saving as many lives as funding stage 4 could, right? If you research any stage 4 cancer, it's going to help all cancers.
Right.
So why there isn't more, I don't know, but I mean, it's devastating. I mean,
because you've gone through rounds after rounds of chemotherapy, right?
Yeah. So initially I went through chemotherapy. I lost my hair, I had double mastectomy, did a liver resection, did radiation, all of that. And now I take chemo in pill form twice a day. And I had a scan today, for instance. I have a scan every 4 months. And I don't know if I would have showed up today if my scan had been bad, but my scan showed I'm still good. So, because here's the truth. So a line of treatment on average will last about 18 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after that, you go on to your next line of treatment, and the cancer gets smart. It outsmarts the treatment, and then you run out of treatment options, and that's when you die from cancer.
Right.
And so I have been very fortunate. Where's a piece of wood? Knock on wood. I've been on my first line of treatment for 4 years.
Very fortunate, right?
So fortunate.
Yeah. Jackquelyn Vranicar and Amy Brace are with us. The documentary is 1 in 8. Amy, what is your hope, from having these conversations from the filming day? And obviously this will be edited and put together into something that people can see. But what message do you want people to take away?
The documentary is 10 of us.
All women.
All women. Yep.
And the whole project's run by women.
Yep. We do have a couple men. They're pretty awesome. Ben and Alex. They're
couple
wonderful.
token. It's all right to be a
it's our token
man.
dude. It's fine.
I get it.
Alex told me if I wasn't working on this.
Oh, go ahead. Get close to the microphone. Tell everybody who you are.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I am the director. This is my first time directing. Actually, I do have a co-director, Alexander, and he told me he would not be working on this project if it was not for me and the support of women.
Nice.
So same with Ben.
Caitlin said she was going to talk, but she's a director, and that's that's how that's going to
go. So the major part of this documentary that really hit home for me is that of the 10 of us, only one person was only 40 when she was diagnosed. And the current age of your first mammogram is supposed to be 40 years old.
Huh.
So even the fact that
How old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was 39 when I was diagnosed.
And Jaquelyn, you
I
were?
was 38.
Man, it's so young.
Yeah.
Oh, there are women in their 20s.
Yeah.
And more. I mean,
and they want to raise.
Yeah,
the
we've noticed
age
that the latest
to
report.
45.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the American. The tricky thing about this is, right, the more you test, the more you find.
Right.
And so you never, it is that challenge when the focus on cancer.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Jaquelyn said. Very much the conversation is about early detection.
Right.
And then what?
And then they kind of stop.
Yeah.
And then
they
what?
stop.
So I feel, and obviously I'm sure you maybe had thoughts on this before, like you were the one with the positive result. But sometimes I wonder, are we over testing and not doing enough to like solve stuff? Like we're identifying and then what?
I think they're
don't know.
marketing too much. That 16 million they spent on that
You don't know.
Super
That's
Bowl ad
another
could have gone
point.
to so much more research.
Seriously.
And I know Jaquelyn didn't say it yet, but as a stage 4 breast cancer person, they never get to stop being treated. They are in treatment for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Whereas because I'm stage 1, I get into what's called survivorship. And then, although it's not that easy either, I still have 2 more surgeries left this year.
Did you what made you guys get tested? Because it was before
I found something.
So you were
Yep,
doing a
and
self
then
exam, or
I-
you noticed it.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I went in for my, actually I didn't go in for probably 7 months because I was afraid.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask that. If you
Yeah.
believed yourself, if you
Right.
knew that, because as a man, I am a firm believer.
Yeah.
In the like, if you ignore it, there's a real good
Goes away.
chance it'll go away.
Yeah, my husband too. He's that way also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the
it's in the man gene.
it's in the
I
man
think.
gene. Yes. It's very, very stupid, but
So I will say that mine was found because I advocated for myself and I went for my annual exam. It included a breast exam. She felt nothing. I didn't have any suspicion of it, but I said something didn't feel right. And I had a really wonderful practitioner and she said, well, let's put your mind at ease. Let's test your thyroid and I will refer you for an early mammogram. And that's where it was found. So, I mean, if you feel like something's not right, don't let anyone call you a hypochondriac or say that it's in your head. You need to pursue it until you get answers that you are satisfied with.
And 3 of our ladies for the documentary are stage 4.
wow.
And we also have what's called a previvor, which is when you have what's the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, which increases your breast cancer chance by 40%. So they'll have prophylactic double mastectomies, hysterectomy, all that kind of stuff, just to take the stuff out that might develop cancer later on. So we also have a previvor, survivors, thrivers. And the stories are incredible. And
Jaquelyn, you have a nonprofit that you've started to try to spread the word about the lack of research, try to raise money, that sort of stuff, right? Called Vranicar.
Right. Yeah. It started when I learned the statistic that Amy shared about so little funding going to stage 4. And it's, I gave you a hat. That's our Vranicar heart. And it's, I didn't want it to scream breast cancer. If you remember,
It's
Chino Latino.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a sign outside. There was just those glittery sequins. And you're like, ooh, what's that? That's what I wanted our logo to be because I wanted everyone to be able to wear it. I want it to be a conversation starter. And it has served that purpose. But our grassroots effort, we've funded over $300,000 in research. And now we're working with the University of Minnesota and their genome center and funding research exclusively there. So we're making progress, but we need all hands on deck.
Well, the documentary for sure will bring more attention to it.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely spread the word when you guys are done. But thank you for kind of raising this issue and your courage, really. And it might be easier to kind of hide in the shadows and So coming forward,
that's the point. We want people to know that even if you are in the shadows and going through it, we're here too.
Absolutely. One more plug. We have Vranicar. And if you are facing a breast cancer surgery or you're going through breast cancer treatment, we have free care packages on our website.
Cool.
Reach out. Yep. Randy Shaver Foundation is helping fund those. We're always looking for funding for the care packages.
Nice.
And they're provided free of charge to women going through breast cancer.
VRANICURE Vranicure.org.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. Go to the cupcake shop.
Thank
too,
you.
in Hopkins. Right, I'm the best cupcakes in town. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
4:47. We'll break back with the latest weather and traffic coming your way here on CCO.
DeRusha returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, we're talking about breast cancer, but another form of cancer that you really cannot be, too laid back about is skin cancer. It's Jason here for my friends at Tureen Dermatology, and my father-in-law has been back over with Dr. Mohiba Tureen, my dermatologist. She is amazing. But he's been back over there again, getting a couple of skin cancers removed from his face. For me, it's a genetic concern. My father has had, oh my goodness, so many skin cancers removed. And if you're Gen X like I am, look, we were dumb, right? When we were young, we were spending too much time in the sun. We were in the tanning bed at the video store. We made our choices. Now is your time to get a full body skin checkup. That is sort of the baseline. Understand where you're at. And I have learned so much from Dr. Tureen because different skin colors have different sort of signs in different places you look. So no matter what your ethnicity is, what your skin color is, the experts at Tureen Dermatology will take care of you. One of the real signs of quality has been their amazing growth. Tureen Dermatology now has 9 locations. I go to Roseville. I have friends who go to Eagan. They're in Monticello. They just opened in Lakeville. So good news for you in Lakeville. Go to the website, make an appointment online. Do it today. It's Tureen, Tareen, dermatology.com.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 14th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Losing a loved one is hard enough before you have to start worrying about what to do with their things. If you inherit their home and need to sell it, the only call I would make would be to my friend, the Good Neighbor agent, John Schuster, with the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Hey, it's Vanita. Melissa was in this situation. She worked with the Schuster Group to sell a home she inherited. She didn't know what to expect. She was overwhelmed. John's known for selling homes quickly and for the most money possible. He was able to get her multiple offers in less than 5 days. Her home sold for more than $25,000 over the asking price. Melissa had a sale stress-free. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 or online at johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Henry Lake at the Lake Show to talk to you about the best place to get real money sports action. Prize Picks. It's so simple and easy to play and make money. Prize Picks is the best place to win money while watching sports. And the app is really easy to use. This past weekend, I was all about the basketball playoff games. And you know that I'm rolling with some of my favorite guys. Going more with Anthony Edwards? Of course. Going less with Luka Doncic because of the revenge factor with my Timberwolves? Yes to that too. So many games and so much action to choose from. Prize Picks is now offering 2,000 times the payouts. And don't forget about the Taco Tuesday promotion. Taco Tuesday consists of several discounted player projections, or also flex your daily fantasy muscles with Flex Friday. Download the app today and use code LAKE830 to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Use code LAKE830 to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop and store online. Rec working 694 eastbound near Wiper Avenue. Left lane shut down. Single lane traffic getting by off to the right. It is packed and stacked and backed up toward 35E and North 35E. Watching slowdowns there as you come up from Roselawn. West 694 jammed up as well toward the crash as you come in from Highway 36. Get Easter favorites at Whole Foods Market. Save 30% on no antibiotics ever. Bone-in spiral cut pork hams with prime through April 22nd. Carve into this juicy sweet centerpiece for your celebratory spread. All supplies last. Shop in store online. Terms apply. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At Newgate School, we turn donated cars into success stories. For 49 years, we've helped underserved young adults in the Twin Cities learn automotive repair skills with zero tuition. Your vehicle donation can teach, fund, and also provide reliable transportation for single moms. Learn more at newgateschool.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Newgate School bringing us the weather forecast. Newgate's been changing lives for over 45 years. Tonight, some scattered showers possible, low of 45. Tomorrow, high of 65. Tomorrow's the only dry day. Wednesday, rain possible late. We get up to 68 during the day. More rain Thursday. Should be dry Friday and Saturday, and then you know what's going to happen on Sunday. Above average temperatures, though. It is 60 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Have we gone too far with the mockery of the Blue Origin space flight with all the women? I mean, look, don't look to me to be the Katy Perry defender. I think Katy Perry is going to be fine. But, man, sometimes our society is so much built around being a hater. Like, it's funnier to be a hater. And I get this. Like, this is my instinct too, right? If you see something and just say, that's cool. That's it. No one's going to be like, did you see what DeRusha said? He thought the space flight was cool. But if you say something really snarky and hate on it, wow, now you got social capital. Now you're cool. Now you're...
Especially if you can zing somebody famous.
That's right. Wendy's is... I believe it's a restaurant, but mostly it's a comedy account on social media.
Seems that way.
Wendy's is maybe the only brand that has been able to successfully be a smart aleck on Twitter exclusively. That's pretty much all they do.
Like without getting in big trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
People are like, that's Wendy's. It's sort of funny. Like, what happened to the cute pigtail girl?
She's right there on the Twitter image.
Is she like, is that cute redheaded pigtail girl just a raging?
Apparently she doesn't like Katy Perry very much.
So some of the posts, when we said women in STEM, this wasn't what we meant. Another responding to Katy Perry just returning from space, Wendy says, can we send her back? Which, like, I get it. Rat-a-tat-tat, you're funny. Well, you know what? Katy Perry's feelings are hurt by Wendy's. Which is funny. So, like, it's not really apologizing. They're not really apologizing. But they're sort of saying, well, we're we have
We're actually really big Katy Perry fans.
A lot of respect. A lot of respect. Kesha posts a picture on Twitter this weekend. Also, KE $, ha. drinking from a Wendy's cup this weekend. So she was. The Katy Perry people, though, are saying, like, telling a woman that she should be sent back is shameful bullying and reflects a troubling willingness to tear down in today's society. What's worse is that the face of Wendy's is a woman. Okay, well, not like maybe we
Getting a little precious. I do think it's
which side am I supposed to be on in this deal?
We told you earlier, I do think it's kind of odd that all of the hate has sort of seemed to coalesce around Katy Perry. I mean, at least she paid for her ride, right? I mean, Lauren Sanchez is there because she's Mrs. Bezos.
Yeah. Great philanthropist, I'm told.
Guess.
Award-winning former journalist. I'm not going to tear anyone down,
Rush
Dan.
for outdoor furniture is coming up fast. Now is the time to upgrade so you can enjoy your space all season long and for seasons to come. Buy the Yard builds premium maintenance-free outdoor furniture made to last and built to order right here in Minnesota. Backed by a 35-year warranty and priced direct to you with no middleman markup. Visit Woodbury, Maple Grove, or Jordan, or start your order at buytheyard.net. With Buy the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Do you have cracks in your basement walls, bowing walls, or settling foundation? Standard Water Control Systems is the #1 basement foundation repair contractor in Minnesota and Wisconsin. With highly trained teams of veteran employees and no subcontractors, Standard Water can repair your basement foundation. Need basement waterproofing? Standard Water has installed thousands of waterproofing systems since 1977. Locally owned with a 4.9 Google rating, you can't go wrong. Schedule your free foundation consultation at standardwater.com.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
A dry winter can cause cracked, itchy skin and sore throats. Getting a whole home humidifier from Metro Heating and Cooling can help you get in the comfort zone on price and performance. Visit metroheating.com.
Metro Heating and Cooling.
News Talk 830 WCCO KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Millions around the world are mourning the death of Pope Francis, this woman in Rome.
We can't believe it's happened while we're here. You know, he was a lovely Pope. We're very sad about it.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Vatican journalist Susie Hodges says Pope Francis brought the common touch to his elevated position.
He did so many things that other popes didn't do, like pick up the phone and ring somebody who'd been suffering. These were unprecedented things for a pope to do.
At his own request, Francis will lie in a simple wooden coffin, not on an elevated platform, but at the same level as the people he vowed to serve. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
CBS News papal contributor Candida Moss on the Pope's achievements.
He introduced much stricter policies on sex abuse scandal and on the legacy of those scandals throughout the world. And he has been a tireless humanitarian voice, pushing powerful nations to care for immigrants and the poor.
And now the process of selecting a new Pope, Delia Gallagher in Rome.
There's a lot to do right now. It's been 20 years since we've had the death of a reigning Pope and then a subsequent funeral and conclave. So there's going to be a lot happening in the next month.
The Vatican says the Pope died of a stroke. President Trump says he has confidence in Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth after reports Hegseth discussed airstrikes in Yemen in another signal chat that also included his wife and brother analyst Jeff McCausland.
Hegseth used his private cell phone for these text messages, which is contrary not only to protocol, but they actually may be a violation of the law.
The El Paso Walmart gunman who killed 23 people back in 2019 was sentenced today to life without parole on state charges. Reporter Chris Fox.
Do you wish to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty?
Guilty. Wearing an orange and white prison jumpsuit and shackles, Crucius said very little. His attorney, Joe Spencer, read a statement saying Crucius suffered severe mental illness and that the mass shooting was a response to what he believed to be the Hispanic invasion of Texas.
He'd already been sentenced on federal charges. Harvard University says it's suing the Trump administration to halt the freeze of more than $2 billion in federal grants after the university refused to limit activism on campus. The markets were off all day, partly due to President Trump's latest criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
Concerns mount that there has not been a lot of progress on trade deals, that the economy will slow, that inflation will rise, and that the president will throw a wrench in plans to keep the Federal Reserve independent.
The Dow dropped to 971 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly sunny, 61 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. As Catholic congregations across the world mourn the passing of Pope Francis, a mass today at the Cathedral of St. Paul honored his life and accomplishments.
Archbishop of St. Paul in Minneapolis, Bernard Hebda, says Pope Francis paved the way for inclusion in the church and that he hopes to see a new pope with similar values.
He's been a great defender of human life, just the way in which he's been an apostle for peace, always calling for peace, and just the way in which he really has been leading us to treat one another with great love. Knowing God's mercy, we're then called to share that mercy with others.
This is just the first of 9 traditional masses that will honor the Pope in the coming days. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830, WCCO.
The U.S. Supreme Court won't revive a Minnesota ban on gun carry permits for young adults.
The Supreme Court said while a government can ban guns from those who pose a threat to the safety of others, Minnesota has failed to show that 18 to 20-year-olds specifically pose such a threat. Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus Vice President Rob Dorr.
The data itself, it doesn't support this notion that 18, 19, and 20-year-olds who are lawfully carrying are going to pose any sort of an increased public safety risk. And we certainly don't see that manifested in other states where they already have this right.
In January, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison appealed a lower court decision striking down a state law limiting permits for public carrying of handguns to people 21 or over.
We're encouraged now, and we hope that sheriffs will start following suit and that we don't have to get involved again with any sheriffs not honoring these applications.
Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Former State Senator Justin Eichhorn back in court today. He pleaded not guilty to a federal charge against him, attempted enticement of a minor. His attorneys have also withdrawn an earlier motion asking a federal judge to modify his release restrictions so he could see his own children. As part of his release prior to trial, he was barred from interacting with anyone under 18 except in the presence of an adult. St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter delivering his annual State of the City address today. Carter spoke at the newly opened North End Community Center, saying the city's personalized focus on public safety remains its number one priority.
Our teams don't just show up in crisis. They build trust every day as neighbors and partners, and the results speak for themselves. As of April 11th, we've seen a 73% drop in non-fatal shootings and zero, yes, I said zero, gun-related homicides so far this year.
Carter also detailed the city's focus on adding more housing, bringing vibrancy back to downtown through strategic investments, and continuing infrastructure improvements like replacing lead pipes at no cost to homeowners and transitioning to a new, more efficient trash hauling system. Minnesota Congresswoman Kelly Morrison pushing for an exemption from tariffs for U.S. small business owners. Morrison telling Vanita Sakar on the WCCO Morning News the uncertainty facing them is very disorienting and has made it nearly impossible to plan and make decisions.
Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. They are what
propel growth, create jobs, and create the American dream for people.
Morrison held a press conference in Zumbrota today with a local small business owner threatened by what Morrison calls the Trump administration's reckless, unnecessary, and unpredictable trade wars. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Well, looks like we still got the crash working East 694 as you make your way past Highway 61. Update is brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino. 694 eastbound is make way toward White Bear Avenue. Accident now off to the right shoulder. The traffic lanes are open, but it is jammed and crammed. Eastbound slowing as you come away from 35E. You're also going to find slowdowns westbound coming away from Highway 36. 10 westbound, watching slowdowns there as you come up from Egret toward Hanson. 94 westbound slowing as you make your way past 169 to Weaver Lake Road. Remember the good times when Mad V and the Killer Bees bring I Am, He Said, a celebration of the music of Neil Diamond back to Treasure Island. The family band will honor the legend with performances of Sweet Caroline, Cracklin' Rosie, and more hits Wednesday, May 14th. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
What a crazy winter. Crabgrass season will be early. Don't wait till it's too late to get your project scheduled. Call ProTurf 952-469-8680 or see their work at professionalturf.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by ProTurf. Find them at professionalturf.com. And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Those May flowers should be looking really good this year. Scattered showers return overnight, could linger into the morning commute. 45 the overnight low. Then the clouds clear out again tomorrow, much like today. We'll see sunshine later with a high of 65. Mostly cloudy on Wednesday with a high up near 70 before, wait for it, more rain showers return late and last into Thursday.
Sunny right now, 61 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
We don't just talk about Minnesota. We talk about what matters to Minnesotans. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie. Just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
All right, here we go. It is Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. It's Jason here. That was Laura Oakes with the news. Dan Cook is with us as well. We had a nice family gathering. Egg hunts, 2 egg hunts in the DeRusha house. There is one egg that went undiscovered. The Easter Bunny hid it so well that we are uncertain where a pale blue egg is in our backyard.
Plastic egg or
plastic egg?
Okay, well, that's good. At least it's not a real egg.
It was not one of the eggs that had money in it. There was candy in it. But rough break for our nephew Lucas, who only got 9 eggs. He did make up for it, though, by taking candy from our communal candy basket throughout the day. So Lucas got one of the York peppermint patties. I think he's fine. I think in the true spirit of the Easter story, I'm not sure what eggs or candy or anything exactly has to do with the Easter story, but we had a good time. We had a good family time on Sunday, and I hope you did too. Let's do the lead.
Now, time to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRusha Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight with.
We begin tonight.
We begin tonight.
We begin with the lead.
And our lead story is what some are calling Hell Week at the Legislature. It is the week where our state representatives sort of have to get it together. This has been a very strange session, to say the least. But with an evenly split and also divided House and Senate, anything can happen. Let's go live to John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Representative Jeff Backer, Republican co-chair of the House Health Finance Committee, is with us today. Representative Backer, give me your odds. Do you think that we'll get this done without needing a special session?
Well, Jason, we're working really hard to do it. That's for sure. I come across the state
to St. Paul every week, and we're rolling up our sleeves. We've given several offers to our counterparts on the other side of the aisle, you know. And with healthcare is so important. You know, currently our healthcare system is fragile, and that has to do with so many people who've been put on medical assistance. And I'm very concerned what the governor has done over the last couple of years with the Democrats. It can literally put our healthcare system into cardiac arrest. We are at a very important time when it comes to Minnesota healthcare, Jason.
Just in the last session, Democrats extended state health care benefits to undocumented immigrants. That is expensive. The thought behind it is that by at least providing health care, then you end up maybe with a less expensive model than people just showing up in the emergency room for everything. What is your thought on the cost of that? And I mean, getting rid of it, is that going to be more expensive than having it? I guess that's the danger, right?
Well, that is a danger. See, we're focused on a healthcare system that works for everyone, and that's what's important. What we've seen is the other side doubling down on, quite frankly, what half the state doesn't like, is that's one-party control. See, it's troubling, the priorities that we're seeing with the Minnesota Democrats. I think it's wrong when they take an oath to serve and help their own constituents, but instead they're prioritizing illegal immigrants over the health care of our law-abiding constituents. You know, when this program was initially projected in the 2023, when there was one-party control, its projected cost, Jason, was $196 million over 4 years. And with the current enrollment explosion, initially they estimated around 7,700. And I hope you're sitting down, Jason, because as of April 1st, 17,396 illegal immigrants are now enrolled in Minnesota healthcare at an estimated cost of now $600 million and climbing. And why so expensive? Because unlike the 1.4 million Minnesotans who are on Medicaid or Medicare, which the federal government typically covers up to 90%, healthcare for illegal immigrants don't qualify for that federal match. So that means the individuals who are hearing this radio.
Yeah, you're just going alone on the state.
100% of those benefits we have to pay.
So what I'm hearing from Representative Jeff Backer, the Republican co-chair of the Health Finance Committee, is this don't sound too good to me, Jeff. This does not sound like what's the middle ground on this stuff? Is there movement towards the middle ground? This sounds like what I'm hearing is the same thing that you would have probably said to me if we talked on the first day of session.
Well, yeah, you are correct there. That's
right. Yeah. And so how do we get anywhere?
Well, I need a co-chair on my other side that's willing to come to the middle ground. We've given 9 offers to them. We have really worked hard to strengthen the system. That includes system for seniors, disability, EMS, hospitals, dental, pharmacy. This is a big healthcare system.
Right.
And they have not budged. They are acting, Jason, like they still have a one-party control, and this is frustrating. So we are willing to work with them.
So you and I think you're right that at least half of Minnesota would support the idea of getting rid of this state benefit. So what are you offering to give up to the Democrats in exchange for them giving up this?
Well, what we're looking at is improving EMS care, because that's very important, because we don't get the federal match. There are systems that would include mental health care system. We are really what we're not.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying, like,
giving something up. We want to strengthen the healthcare system.
Right, but isn't that aren't we beyond that? Aren't we at the 1 week, 2 weeks to go? Like now we got to make a deal. So we want to get rid of this care for immigrants, illegal people who are here undocumented, who are here illegally. And the Democrats don't want to do that. So you got to give something up on the Republican priorities, right?
Yeah, and we've offered that, and unfortunately, I can't give you all the details to show.
Well, you
all our
could. It'd be
against-
fun. You could
Oh,
give it up. No, I'm sure. I get it. It is.
It's like that Easter. It's like that Easter egg, Jason. You got to keep it hidden a little bit, that you were talking about earlier.
Well, I hope you guys can get somewhere. I think people are going to be real frustrated. Obviously, the session started in such a ridiculous way that people are going to be pretty ticked if this thing doesn't. It needs to go into special session, I think.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you. The Democrats didn't have the address to the Capitol and didn't show up for 23 days. So that's very frustrating because they have burnt through a whole lot of money, $18 billion surplus, raised their taxes, been $10 billion. We have to set priorities, and the priorities are our law-abiding Minnesota citizens. We need to prioritize their health care, Jason.
Jeff Becker, thank you for being with us. We'll keep watching things over at the Capitol. Next story on the lead is a major development at the U.S. Supreme Court that has a big impact on an effort in Minnesota to keep handguns out of the hands of teenagers. Our legal analyst, Joe Tamburino, joins us now on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline with a little bit of insight as to what happened today. Joe, good to visit with you.
Thanks for having me on, Jason. How are you?
I am doing well. So explain kind of what the Supreme Court today, when they decided that they were not going to hear a Minnesota case. What happened here?
Well, here's what happened. Originally, Minnesota enacted a law, I think it was back in 2003, that said if you're between the ages of 18 to 21, you can't conceal and carry. You can't carry a firearm.
Can't carry, yeah.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with hunting rifles or anything like that. It's with handguns. And there's been a challenge to these types of laws of late. And it went to what's called the Federal District Court and then the Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit, which is our circuit. There are 13 different appellate court circuits in the United States. We're in the Eighth Circuit. And at the Eighth Circuit in St. Louis, they said, you know what? That's not constitutional, that law, so they struck it down. So then it went up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court said, we're not going to hear it. So right now, the law has been struck down, which means that 18 to 20-year-olds can be applying for the permits to carry.
The question is whether the Second Amendment conflicts with the idea of having some age limit, right? The Second Amendment has no age limit in it, but I guess that's sort of the question. Different states have tried to pass different laws, adding age limits, and I imagine this decision to not hear the Minnesota case, to me, it makes me wonder, are they going to take another case? Because we sort of need some guidance from the Supreme Court if an age limit would violate the Second Amendment, because I don't know that we have a federal decision that really guides us there, do we?
That's correct. And there could be another case, but right now, the way we stand is the Eighth Circuit's decision stands.
Yeah.
So, presumably if you're 18, 19, or 20, 21 is different. 21, you can do it. You could go and carry a firearm, get a permit for that. So, there could be, I'm not aware of one, but there certainly could be some other case that the Supreme Court will hear. It's up to them, obviously. Who knows how many cases want to be heard by the U.S. Supreme Court, and very, very, very few get heard. But that's the way the court system works. So if the Supreme Court says we're not going to hear this issue, then whatever was the ruling in the court directly below, which is obviously the U.S. appellate courts in the federal system, that's the ruling that stands.
Very good. Joe Tamburino with us to explain the not hearing of a case has a big impact on Minnesota law. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
It is 5:21. Let's break. We'll come back and do page 2 of the DeRusha Hour news headline. Your Fruit Loops are going to look different soon. Plus, why Hamlin Hamlin University owns a house that it uses to stage fake murders. We'll explain that when we come back on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, the housing go time is here. It's Jason for my friends at Chris Lindahl Real Estate. So here's the situation. If you have a house that you need to sell, I would be a little nervous if I were you about going on to the regular housing market. We don't know from one day to the next where interest rates are going to be. Today, the president calls the head of the Fed a name. The stock market does a thing. There's just a lot of stress around it. Wipe the stress clear. ChrisLindahl.com is where you can go to get a guaranteed cash offer. You know Chris, the arms out real estate guy. ChrisLindahl.com is where you can get a guaranteed offer. And let me tell you right now, don't you want a guarantee? It is nerve-wracking. Not when you go to ChrisLindahl.com, because you get that guaranteed offer. You are in control. You decide if you want the offer or not. You decide when you want to move. You decide when you want to close. You're driving the train. Chris Lindahl is maximizing your cash, getting you to the finish line. You don't have to clean up the house. You don't have to do anything at all. Just make that first initial conversation happen and do it at ChrisLindahl.com. Terms and conditions may apply.
Yeah. 1 in 5 Minnesota families can't afford the food they need. Your donation starts the change. Join Second Harvest Heartland on April 23rd for the 24-hour Harvest Giving Day. Every dollar you donate can be matched to provide 6 meals. Donate now at 2harvest.org/24.
Minnesota is known for setting a high standard in healthcare, and for good reason. With our state's world-renowned healthcare institutions, we have some of the best standards of medical care in the United States, right here at home. But now, dangerous legislation is moving through the Minnesota Legislature with loopholes that would allow optometrists, who are not medical doctors or trained surgeons, to perform surgery on the delicate tissues surrounding your eyes. It would even allow them to inject a needle directly into your eye, and with no additional training requirements. We only get one pair of eyes. They deserve surgical care from the highest trained medical doctors and surgeons, not a watered down standard of care. In fact, 85% of Minnesotans agree. So tell your state legislators to protect our high standards of surgical eye care and reject this dangerous plan. Paid for by the Minnesota Academy of Eye Physicians and Surgeons.
Anytime is tune-up time at Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing. For only $59 gets your AC ready for the summer heat. Just visit us at callapollo.com. That's callapollo.com.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost thousands of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0. Listen to Bridget's story after losing 55 pounds and using her insurance for coverage.
LifeMD helped me get covered with my insurance. Finding out that it was covered was huge. I've lost 55 pounds. I am so much healthier now that I've lost the weight. I would never be able to do it without them.
Get started today and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0 at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Not for me. I mean, this, not for me.
I mean, it is horrifying.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
You know, I got in big arguments with a friend of mine years ago about whether or not anyone really cares about the color of their cereal. And she said, well, people don't want this junk in their food. And I said, people want their food to be cheap. And now the federal government is going to make everybody's food look different soon.
Good morning.
morning. Fruit Loops, find the loopy side.
Yeah, those Fruit Loops are going to have a different look. New York Times reporting that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will announce tomorrow a new policy that will ban 8 petroleum-based food dyes. They're in hundreds of thousands of grocery store staples. I guess I will be glad when these dyes are banned so we can stop sort of pretending that these food dyes are causing every sort of weird thing in the history of the world. So just get rid of them. There does come a point where you're like, you know what? Like, honestly, enough. Health advocates have long criticized food dyes. There's honestly, the research on this is shaky. It is shaky. That said, there is a small body of research that connects dyes to hyperactivity, other neurobehavioral problems. The FDA regulates about 80% of our food supply. They banned red dye number 3 shortly before the current administration took office. California banned it first. So these dyes are widely used in the United States, but you go to Europe, you go to Canada, companies have to use warning labels if they add them, so they're using other substitutes. So whatever. General Mills, you're going to be fine. I will be fine. Everybody's going to be fine. Fruit Loops in Canada get their colors from blueberries and carrots instead of red dye number 4 to yellow dye number 5 and blue number 1. We're all going to be fine. I hope for those of you Looney Tunes who are obsessed with the dye issue, I hope that all of our neurodivergent issues go away. I hope so. And I will come on this radio station and say, I am sorry. I hope. It's fine. We were not number 1 in total voter turnout last year. But the kids came through. Yeah. Forum News Service reporting that Minnesota took the top spot in the nation for youth voter turnout. Tufts University did this survey. Minnesota voters 18 to 29. Is that youth? If you're 28, you're not a dang youth, but that's how they study it. So the young people, you are a young person if you're in your 20s. 62% turnout rate. National turnout rate for 18 to 29-year-olds, 47%. Maine had 60. Michigan came in third at 58. So good job, Minnesota. Iowa's at about 54%. Illinois, 41%. So pretty cool. Hamlin owns a house next to its soccer and softball field for one purpose: staging fake murders.
But how do you know about them? Elementary, my dear Watson. This man has been dead for at least 2 hours.
Star Tribune Spencer White with a fascinating story with a great quote from Jamie Spalding, the assistant professor, who says, you can't teach a crime scene in a classroom. More than 100 students studying forensic science. Assistant Professor Spalding built the program. We should have Jamie Spalding on the show. That'd be a good name to stick around. So he started staging crimes in this, was a former faculty member's house. It takes a bit to stage a crime. They use real blood. They replicated a scene from Pulp Fiction for one class. Oh, that had to be a lot of splatter. The kids have to use, all of the Tyvek suits and shoe coverings and face masks. Pretty cool. This is great stuff. Hamlet, getting it done. Kind of weird. I had to think differently next time I'm driving through that neighborhood. I'll tell you that much. That's the DeRusha Hour news headlines here on CCO. The lead always at 5:10 and page 2 thereafter. Dave Schwartz. Oh, so much to talk about. Timberwolves up, wild, down, Twins. Oh my goodness. We'll talk to Dave coming up.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRusha continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Special Agent Starling. Phone call. Excuse me, John. Starling.
Hello, Clarice. Have WCCO fans stopped screaming about the tariffs?
Where are you, Dr. Lecter?
Somewhere quiet, sipping a nice Chianti and listening to WCCO. You should also tune in.
You know I can't make that promise.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. It's based on a recent DeRusha Eats segment. Bye.
Clarice had questions. You have questions. There's no silence of the fans here. News Talk 830 WCCO.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
You'll feel better, you'll sleep better, and it's all coming to you for free. That's right. Jordana Green here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Mini Leaf products are free shipping all of April. That triple diamond pain cream is perfect for any pain you're having and maybe even any bug bites or a sunburn that you're having. Want to sleep better? Those Sleep Night gummies will definitely do it. Go to MINNELEAF.com. I use these products. They really help me through my cancer recovery. They help me get off my Ambien. Those Sleep Night gummies are a real charm. MINNELEAF.com. That's minileaf.com. Free shipping throughout the month of April. Tell them Jordana sent you when you go to minileaf.com. Free shipping all of April.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet, you need to pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Carl of Aspire Integrated Health. What is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is actually nerve damage to the hands, feet, and legs.
And what are the symptoms?
The major symptoms are numbness, tingling, burning, muscle cramps, coldness in hands or feet, and problems with balance.
So is neuropathy treatable?
It is absolutely treatable, and we can get some great results.
Call 651-504-3333 today to schedule a nerve damage screening.
Your nerve damage screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our innovative treatment program.
Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe that nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. Call 651-504-3333. The first 25 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 651-504-3333. Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, D.C. Results may vary.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
You're going to find some heavy stuff in place traveling west 494 as you make way between Portland Avenue and heading up toward Highway 100. 212 westbound beyond Highway 5, getting word of a crash. Use caution and make way out of Eden Prairie. Traveling 694. Still some slowdowns both directions right now between 61 and 120. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Clogged gutters? Call the pros. Advantage Home Pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Seamless gutter installation, cleaning, and covers. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, weather brought to you by Advantage Home Pros. Why don't you experience the advantage of AdvantageHomePros.com? Here's Chris Schaefer.
Let's call it rounds of rain. Scattered showers overnight that could linger into the morning commute. 45 will be the low. Decreasing clouds tomorrow. We get back to the sunshine with a high of 65. Up near 70 Wednesday with rain late that will spill into Thursday.
Pretty nice. Right now it is 60 degrees in Woodbury. Mostly sunny too on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
I think this is just all a bunch of hullabaloo and a waste of time.
You're not wrong.
On News Talk 830 WCCO. He'll say what he thinks.
I hesitate to write them off after 4 games, but
Even when he isn't always right.
I'll once again admit that I was wrong. Shows you how much I know.
But that's what we love about him.
And I'm a Jersey snob.
The always entertaining and authentic Dave Schwartz now joins Jason for his weekly appearance on Drive Time with DeRusha.
And Dave Schwartz is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Hey, Dave, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jason?
You know what? Okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
It's Monday.
Yeah, it sort of feels like it, right? Like we had family over yesterday for Easter. It was great. I smoked a ham. That was fun. You ever smoked? You ever smoked a ham before?
I have not smoked a ham, but we did have ham yesterday. But I was in a food coma. Like I swear, the second half of the day was gray. It was rainy.
Yeah.
We just hung out and took naps so that we could stay up late to watch a Wild game last night.
And last night's puck drop was a reasonable start based on
compared to tomorrow.
Now, what do you make of game one? Vegas, which, you know, the Wild, Matt Boldy, my gosh, right? 2 goals, getting it done.
Great. Yep.
But the Wild have a history in playoff hockey of struggling to get to 3 or 4 goals in a game. 2 seems about the ceiling.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually, watching the game, I thought they played significantly better yesterday than they had the last couple of weeks. I thought Philip Gustafsson played much better than he had the last few weeks. But the problem is there's just when you get to the postseason, and more often than not, the last few years, Wild have been a wild card team. You're facing the top of the second best team in the conference, and the margin for error is so small. It's just almost non-existent. And you make them, you pinch incorrectly here, you give them a breakaway. You take a penalty that you shouldn't have had, you give them a power play goal. And so there's just not a lot of room for error. If you couple that with the fact that I personally thought the officiating was not great last night. I thought they missed some things, some very key plays.
Yeah.
And you put all that together and it comes out. I mean, they score an empty netter, but it was a 1-goal game.
1-goal game
against a really good team. That's
Vegas,
one of the best in the Western Conference.
That's fair. Vegas is one of the least penalized teams in hockey. Is that because Vegas is the home of gambling and the NHL is rigged?
No, last night
That's what I saw on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it's because it's Vegas. That's what I read.
No, but I can understand people's frustration, especially Wild fans, when you watch that game last night and you see some of the thing, the few times that Ryan Hartman took some really bad hits and there's no call.
Yeah.
And I get it. He embellishes sometimes during the regular season. And I know that gets frustrating. And I know these referees are human beings, but you got to call it consistently.
There's a pretty significant cross-check against Hartman.
Yeah. And you can't say, I'm not going to call that because it's Ryan Hartman. I mean, you have to call the game because you didn't call that. They also missed off the power play goal, Freddie Gaudreau being, upended off the faceoff. So
interference,
I thought it wasn't all
interference.
officiating. Yeah, it wasn't all officiating, but I thought the officiating was significantly lopsided last night. And Ryan Hartman, listen, he does some of that to himself, and that's the way it goes. But it'd be nice
when
to
convert
the right way.
They convert on the power play too.
Yeah, and because on the face-off, the guy's wide open.
Yeah.
And so, Freddie Gaudreau, if you remember that play, if Freddie Gaudreau's on his feet, he comes and plays that guy at the top of the zone. So Marcus Foligno can slide over, and that guy's not wide open, but Foligno has to cover both, and then they score a goal. And so but that's the margin for error.
Yeah.
That's just not there in the postseason.
What do you think, now you come back for game 2.
Mm-hmm.
In Vegas, it's 8 p.m. puck drop. So I guess it's not that significant. For us, it seems ridiculous, right? 10 p.m.
Yeah.
My God. Do they hate us? Like, does the NHL hate its fans? What I get it. Like you're trying to get as many of these things on national TV as possible, but oh
Yep.
my God, it's so
national TV. It's all
so
about television ratings.
unfan-friendly.
It is, and
We're going to
from
wait
a
up,
selfishly-
whatever, but it's just annoying.
Well, but selfishly, from a Minnesota standpoint, yeah, we'll wait up. But how many kids are going to wait up? I'm not going to let my kids stay up until midnight to finish watching the game, and then those kids are potential fans.
Yeah.
They continue to be fans down the road. So it's frustrating from that standpoint. But there's just, unfortunately, at this point, no way around it.
Minnesota Timberwolves get the early tip-off by comparison tomorrow. Right. They get sort of hosed on this as well when you're playing the Lakers. Man, did they look good on Saturday. Holy moly.
I thought they looked really good, and especially with the way that the Lakers came out, but they were able to kind of withstand. I thought Naz Reid was awesome. You talk about an X factor. That guy he's just incredible, and I thought he played really well. I don't know. I don't know if maybe the Lakers just thought that it was going to be, we'll just get out to a lead and sit back and relax. But I just thought the Wolves outworked them. How many times they were beating them down the court, moving the ball, and I thought Wolves just outworked them, and that's what it was about. And that was really the difference in the game to me, to kind of weather that storm.
It is fascinating when you look at the playoffs and you look at the West in the NBA, where you have the best two teams, and then everybody else is pretty competitive. So even though the Wolves have the much lower seed, it's like, they're still pretty competitive with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. You do look and it says, okay, this is the fundamental question about any sort of sport where you have a multi-game playoff scenario. Is depth what matters, or is it enough to have like 2 or 3 massive stars? And I think we'll see an answer to that question, because the Wolves are so much deeper than the Lakers. But the Lakers' top 2 are top.
They're the top
10 in the NBA, right. Period. I mean, they're the top 2.
The one thing I think is a really good sign for the Wolves is that when Anthony Edwards kind of down the stretch, especially after he went out and then came back in, it didn't have to be his play every time.
Yes.
And in years past, he's forcing these shots, and it's like he doesn't need to take that. But I felt like he dished the ball a little bit. He spread it around. And man, if he continues to do that, and he's that kind of threat where you don't know if he's going to take that shot or if he is going to dish it, now you can't double him. That's a big game changer to me. And now you really are using your depth to your advantage against a team like LA.
Wolves up 1-0. They play at 9 tomorrow. Oh my gosh. It's brutal.
Really?
I'm going to go take
an afternoon.
Yes. I'm going to go take a nap when I get done with work, I guess. Like, my goodness. It's going to be a late night.
Yeah. Well, streaming is your friend. You can watch it, from bed, but I don't recommend it, because then you'll fall asleep. I did that last night. I thought I'll make it all the way through the third period. Then I fell asleep for like 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, I got to go downstairs and watch on the television.
Dave Schwartz is with us. I don't want to talk too much about the Twins, but on Friday we had Dan Hayes on the show, and we were talking about how the Twins played so well against the Mets and the vaunted New York Mets offense, and that maybe it took some of the stress off of Rocco. And then they go and just poop the bed against the Braves. Just brutal.
Yeah, we'll find. I feel like they start with the White Sox tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
If you're ever going to find a way to get off a slump, it's Chicago. It's the White Sox. If this can spring them a little bit, maybe. But if this is another series where we just can't pitch, we can't hit to the right spots, so to speak, and get on base. And then bring those guys around. If it's more of the same against the White Sox, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. They're what, 7-15?
Yeah.
Second worst start in Twins history.
And this is the second series with the White Sox. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So you've already had 2 series against the White Sox when it's all said and done. And at this point, you only have 7 wins. That's not great.
Dave, before you go, because I hear you're at some sort of youth sporting event, I can hear the excitement in the background. I don't want to, What are we
Can
watching?
You hear the SUVs rolling by? Yeah, the nice SUVs. Watching my son's lacrosse game, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. He's out. Actually, he's on the bench now. He's taking a break.
Did you know anything about lacrosse before?
Actually, I did.
You did?
I did. I called 4 years of lacrosse in college. It was Division I lacrosse. So I got to call it on the radio. It was amazing.
Who is doing radio broadcasts of lacrosse?
Hobart and William Smith colleges out of Geneva, New York. Actually, Hobart was a Division I program.
Was this like in between, like you were doing tennis on the radio too, or like
we didn't do
cross
tennis,
country? Were you doing cross country meets? Like
I was free broadcasting labor. I did every sport they had.
I mean, I did in high school. I did our high school baseball games on the radio.
Well, that's a heck of a lot tougher than anything. Baseball is the hardest one to call.
It was so boring.
It's so hard to call because it's hard to keep 3 hours.
I didn't have a book of research on like the kid from Niles North High School playing short. I didn't have that information. We didn't have the internet either. Yes, we did. I did make it.
No one's gonna know.
I called a girls' high school basketball game where we only had the last name of the opposing school. So I made up first names for all of these girls. And there was one, and I still remember there was a girl whose last name was O'Grady, and I decided her first name was Chips. Chips O'Grady. So dumb. And like,
but that's the kind of stuff
who is listening other than my mother and my friend Eric, his mother? Like, that's probably it.
Well, hopefully not Chips O'Grady's mother.
Oh, Chips O'Grady. She was a pistol too. Like I'm sure she popped off for a real offensive performance that night.
She had a real bite to her game, you might say.
There it is. Dave Schwartz, everybody. Dave Schwartz. Thanks, Dave.
All right. See you guys.
You just have to exit on that, and then Dan hits a button. That's how that goes.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
When is the last time you upgraded your landscaping? It's Jason here for Professional Turf, Pro Turf. Look, these are the guys who take care of my lawn. They're unbelievable. They are great. Locally owned, based here in Minnesota for more than 3 decades. Longtime employees who have been with the same company because they love it. They love the team. They love the ownership. They love the whole deal. They love you. And they want to come and take care of your home. We do little upgrades inside our house, right? You paint a bedroom. You maybe change your countertops. You put in new carpeting. Let's think about upgrading the outdoors. A little renovation project for the landscape. Professional Turf. They include a free landscape design. They've got certified landscape designers. They're the best. They'll throw it in when you buy a project. Now, what can Pro Turf do for your landscape? Well, you dream it, they can do it. Or you ask them to dream it for you. They can do simple stuff like taking out the old kind of overgrown junk and replacing it. Or they could do the whole property. Or think about hardscape paver patios or beautiful driveways and sidewalks. Oh, redoing the sidewalk or redoing your patio or a boulder retaining wall or use block, whatever. They can do anything. ROI up to 100% when you do a landscape project. Go to professionalturf.com to see their work or make a call. 952-469-8680. That's Pro Turf.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindis Construction. Andy Lindis and I will be taking your home improvement questions both by phone and by text every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Financial advice should be holistic and tailored to your life. I'm Ryan Antkowiak, financial advisor with Baird Private Wealth Management and the president of the Financial Planning Association of Minnesota. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning advice for all areas of your life: family, retirement, estate planning, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate with your tax and legal advisors to ensure you have one comprehensive financial plan that makes sense for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Miller Marine of St. Cloud, world's largest Bennington dealer. 212 westbound beyond Dell Road, crash working off to the right. Traffic remains tight coming in from Highway 5, Highway 62 eastbound slowing Tracy to Cedar. 94 westbound slowing move past Brockton up into Rogers. It's the factory scratch and dent truckload sale exclusively at Miller Marine. For limited time only, get fishing boats starting at $105 a month and pontoons starting as low as $243 a month. Shop the world's largest Bennington dealer with over 100 boats inside. You can shop in 70-degree comfort in the largest showroom in Minnesota. Miller Marine of St. Cloud, we buy more, so we sell for less. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
DAV of Minnesota bringing you the weather forecast. Chris Schaefer telling me tonight we'll get down to 45. Tomorrow we will be above the average high, 65. Wednesday even warmer, 68. But a little rain possible late Wednesday and then more rain Thursday. We'll dry out on Friday and Saturday. But do we need the rain? Yeah, we do. It's 60 degrees in Brooklyn Park on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Let's go through the list. What do you think of Jason?
Absolutely no.
Oh, wow. Kathleen, thank you very much.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on.
Hopkins is becoming Paige Becker's Minnesota for one day on May 16th. That is the day she will be here because she'll be playing the Lynx. May 16th already. WNBA is weird, man. Like, you just have the draft, boom, and then the season
They get
starts.
right into camp and let's go. Yeah, they don't mess around.
So my first reaction, now she played basketball at Hopkins High School.
Yes.
But she also, I believe, didn't she play at Minnetonka High School for a bit as well? Was she at Hopkins all 4 years?
I thought she was at Hopkins all 4 years, but I could be wrong.
And of course, she's not from the city of Hopkins.
Grew up in St. Louis Park, which is right next door to Hopkins. So
a little weird. It's a little weird.
This might be.
It's like Hopkins just trying to like get on the gravy
If you ever
train.
want to guess how Jason DeRusha is going to react to something, find some little tweak, twist, kind of minor detail that in the big picture of things doesn't really matter. And he will seize on that to go, well, why aren't we actually having St. Louis Park? Maybe instead of Hopkins.
It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, it's you, and I love you for it.
But do you think like Paige has any affinity towards the city of Hopkins?
Yes.
So I guess I doubt it.
I think so. She played high school basketball there. She probably has relationships with all kinds of people.
But like
in the
when
city
she
of
was in
Hopkins.
8th grade, she was in like some Wayzata league as well.
Okay.
Like, so does she feel like?
Well, when she was 8th grade, she was playing varsity basketball. So
come on,
that's how good she was.
She is that good. She deserves all the accolades. All of
Absolutely.
the cities. I mean,
I'm kind of surprised that it was Hopkins that popped this idea and not Minneapolis or, one of the bigger ones tried to
if you're
claim it.
Minneapolis, aren't you pissed? You're like, freaking Hopkins.
Beat us to the punch.
I would just do it anyway.
They might.
Because who cares what Hopkins is doing?
I mean, the state could just come in and trump everybody and say it's.
They all should do.
Yeah.
Do you think Paige will come? She's not going to come back. She's not coming to Hopkins.
I don't know.
You would not, right? If you were a big time
Well, I mean, if there was family there or somebody I wanted to visit, I might.
Well, No, she has a
You know,
job. Like
I
she's got to go.
I have a connection
play
to the
game.
program. Maybe I want to say hi to Coach. You know,
Maybe the second time you're back in town, but the first time, isn't this going to be her first?
I think it's his first game.
The first game.
Yeah.
Let Paige focus on the game.
I'm saying if that's what she wants to do, I'm not going to rip her for it. But
This is a desperate cry for attention and love by Hopkins. How about a city with some integrity like Maple Grove, which wouldn't even allow there to be a Jason DeRusha day?
somehow I knew this was where we were going to end up. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, you got to let me go on the journey. I'm
You
not
do.
just going to
No,
lead
I get it.
with.
I get it.
Why won't Maple Grove name a day after me? But since you brought it up, Dan,
Well, they
why
won't-
won't they?
They won't put you in the parade.
I bet Hopkins. What you know? What I've been in the Raspberry Day parade.
Yeah, you have.
I have more. I mean, if Hopkins is just giving out names,
Why not?
I do think Minneapolis should.
Look, we reference the National
But do
Day
you do that?
calendar.
Is that weird if you're Minneapolis? Like, you don't want to celebrate. Like, she's not ours anymore. She's not ours.
She'll always be one of us.
No, if you had
always one. of us.
okay. So this is also why
We claimed Lindsay Whalen when she went to Connecticut.
we should talk about this more tomorrow.
Okay.
Because if you were a man in the NFL, and we have had local people who've gone
Plenty
on,
of them.
and when they come back, we don't name a day after them. We try to beat the crap out of them in the game.
I know. We still claim it was ours.
Oh, we
They're one
do
of us.
not.
Sure, we do.
So lame. Lame, I tell you. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hi, it's Vanita, and we know how great the John Schuster Group is, but it's wonderful to hear from people who have benefited from